pain. It hurts. It shouldn't hurt, because she should be broken in by now. But when this cat fucks her, it hurts. It hurts just like it did the first time. You see, the pain is reminding a fuck machine what it was once like to be a virgin. Hence, like a virgin.
It's a pretty good Tarantino impression as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to episode 103 of Preachin on Preacher at the Movies. This week we're going to be discussing Quentin Tarantino's 8th film, The Hateful Eight. And in part 2 we're going to be discussing all things Quentin Tarantino. It's a very Tarantino-esque episode today. So I'm Michael Ormond.
Joe Lennon.
Aiden Ralph.
And I is Ken.
How were your weeks, gentlemen?
What
was that?
I had the last 4 days off. I had a great little 4-day weekend.
So did I. I also had...
Nothing of note, really. There really wasn't.
I completed Spider-Man. That's the most exciting thing I did, really. I only opened up a joint bank account with Adele, so I did some adulting.
Oh, God.
You adulted.
You're old now.
Get a prenup.
Next is the prenup. Just
Imagine that in the bank, that conversation. Sorry, where's the prenup in this contract? Is it, you should do yeah, that's about it. That's kind of all I did, really.
I'm slowly but surely reclaiming the games room.
Okay.
Hey.
I got rid of some shelving, put some stuff in boxes, and now I can actually walk into that thing.
Oh, wow. The door opens
The door opens,
Wow.
and there's not just stuff all over the ground. It's a happy day.
Did you
Many
find
would
the
actually
microphone
remember
I
holders?
found the microphone stands
Where are they?
at home.
Oh,
The best place for them.
Would they even go on this table?
I would say so, yeah.
maybe.
I love the way when I said that, all three of us went like this. Oh, yes.
Start
Look.
touching
Oh,
the
look
table.
at it. Yes,
well, it's not a very good built table considering Opie's chewing all fucking
I
corners
know.
of the bastard.
dogs do
Can
that.
you see that on camera?
You can now, but probably when
Here?
it's edited, you might not.
Has Opie eaten any of the chairs or anything yet?
No, it's
No.
just the corners
He
of
likes
That's
everything.
weird.
corners.
Yeah.
When we had first got Nessa, she used to chew the bottoms of the chairs. Fry did too, but then would have splinters in their poo.
Oh.
And it's,
damn.
yeah, because she would. Most dogs would chew it and spit it out.
Yeah.
Nessa and Fry would chew it and eat it. And then
Dogs
have
are
splinter
morons.
Poo. My dogs are morons.
Well,
Yeah.
see, Opie would chew like a stick on his walk, and we'd have to try take it off him.
That's how Fry got a busted nose. He ran around with it, dropped it, and the thing jabbed up his nostril, and has caused no end of issues.
I never
damn.
get any less sick to my stomach when I hear that story, to be honest with you. It sounds fucking horrendous.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
Fry's an idiot, but he doesn't deserve that. in
No,
fairness.
no one deserves to stick up the nose.
No.
Imagine falling on a pencil.
Stick it up your nose.
That's kind of what it was like.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight kind of flashbacks with the pencil.
Oh God, no.
I have one
Ta-da.
other funny anecdote directly related to this week's film that we were going to tell last week,
Okay.
Oh,
but
yeah.
we obviously didn't record. So Aiden was dropping me to work Monday
Monday morning. Yeah.
and I turned to him and was like, "You watched the film yet?" And he was like, "No, not yet. I'm going to watch it tonight." And then I mentioned...
No, he said, what you said was, have you
sorry.
watched Django Unchained
Sorry,
yet?
have you
I'm
watched Django Unchained yet?
I
And
said,
Aiden was like,
no.
No, but we're watching The Hateful Eight this week. So...
You
If-
watched the completely wrong
Did
movie.
you
No,
watch,
no,
did
no,
you
I-
watch Django?
So I did watch the right film. If I hadn't have randomly asked Aiden that conversation on the way to work, I would have watched Django Unchained, and I probably would have shown up here the next night, going, "Yeah, I watched the wrong film. Whoops."
That would have been funny, though.
yourselves.
Like, it would have
Yeah.
been funny for a hot minute, but then again, like, it would have led to the conversation of, should we postpone this until next week and just try and figure out what the
And
fuck
we ended up postponing it anyway. So
Yeah, but if
Yeah.
we didn't find out until we started actually discussing the movie.
Yeah.
So what did everybody think of the Hateful Eight?
Yeah.
like what?
What?
You mean Django? Yeah.
Is that the original name before post-production of
Yeah,
Django
yeah.
Unchained?
Oh,
Why do you
God.
keep referring to this film by its production name?
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
The
confused.
secretive name.
But the thing is, then we were thinking about it afterwards, and if Aiden hadn't mentioned the name of the film, like if he hadn't mentioned The Hateful Eight or I hadn't mentioned Django, like we could have had the exact same conversation we had, been talking about two completely different films, and still would have made sense. Because I was like, I thought it was a bit long, but I thought it was good. I said, yeah, okay.
The relationship between the black and the white guy
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah.
They said the N-word a lot. And
Yep, same film.
Tarantino directed, wrote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
very funny. Yep,
Yeah.
same film. Yep,
Black guy main role.
Yep, same
Yeah.
film. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought that was funny because then it was like,
It's like I like Jimmy Fox. Wait a minute, what's
Whoa,
that got to do
whoa,
with
whoa,
this?
whoa! Wait a minute.
I didn't even know he was in that movie.
Yeah, it's like
that
no,
makeup they put on him to
Did I
make him
miss a
look like
cameo?
Samuel L. Jackson looks really good.
Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, you mixing up black guys? You absolute racist? Yeah, so that would have been interesting. But
I will say, to add to my weekend talk, I did see Captain Marvel over the weekend.
yeah, what do you think of it?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Very
Well
good.
worth going to see.
I really enjoyed that film.
Yep.
It's excellent.
so
Have you
good.
guys seen Cooker's film yet?
No, not yet.
Say what?
Hole in the ground.
Cooker's
Hole
film,
in
The
the
Hole in the Ground.
No, I haven't
That's
actually.
dead.
I went to see that
Yeah.
the week before. That's
We
good
should
too.
totally review that.
Yeah, we should actually. No, I'd be up for it because, like,
That'd be class.
I would love to try get Cooker on for that.
Shit
Yeah.
film next week, isn't it?
That would be class.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it?
Shit, shit movie.
Oh.
No,
I
it was
don't,
not
I
shit.
don't think there's been a horror done in a while.
no,
I
don't
know
think
it'd
so.
be nice,
shit,
nice to
horror
sit
should be
down for a
coming up.
homegrown movie.
Yeah. Well, we did the
We
horror
did.
block in October, but still, like, that's still like 4 or 5
Mhm.
But
months
that's
ago. so-
Halloween horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we
Um,
did They Live that during that. And that was a
Hey.
comedy.
And Scream.
Yeah.
No,
Hey,
oh,
hey,
yeah.
oh, hey.
Well, it's
oh.
The
That's
Fly, 28 days later.
Oh,
That's
I didn't watch The Fly.
And actually,
Fly
after
was so
after
good.
seeing Cooker's film and then popping on IMDb, I've decided now that I no longer trust IMDb's user rating system anymore
Why?
because they gave The Hole in the Ground 5.7 or 5.8 out of 10.
Right.
It is
It was
much
definitely a tree.
much better than that. No, honestly, man, like it's as good as most horror films I've seen in the last 10
Really?
years. It's excellent. Yeah, it's really
But
good.
those
But would
user
we have
rating
to-
things are screwed
I also
anyway.
like a mini review of that film. I like that it does not outstay its welcome.
Yeah, it's
Because like
really
there's a lot
tight.
of there's a lot of horror films that are like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
At the end of it, you're just like, oh, fucking come on.
Yeah,
And
no,
it's a
like-
tight 90 minutes.
and
I always
Lee-
believe
like,
horror should be around 90
Mhm.
minutes.
Yeah. It's comedy
maybe
as well.
100, maybe 100. That's it.
there's two genres right there. Comedy and horror should both, generally speaking, should be about 90 minutes. Anything
Yeah.
more than that,
Yeah,
you're
I
on the
agree.
risk of outstaying the welcome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like Funny People is too fucking long. I know that's a comedy drama, but that's 2.5 hours.
Mhm.
And I really do like that film, but it's too fucking long.
Mhm.
But like, and your man Lee Cronin that directed it and co-wrote it with Cooker, he was. Like, I went to a screening in the Lighthouse, and there was a Q&A afterwards with him. And one thing that he was saying was like, I think the initial cut was 97 minutes, and he
Yeah.
knocked it down to 90. And at one stage, I think during the production when they were filming it and stuff, during principal photography, somebody said to him, if we keep going the way we're going, this film is only going to be 77 minutes or something like that. And he said, don't worry about it. It's going to be 90 minutes. Don't worry about it. I know exactly what I'm doing. This
Mhm.
will be 90 minutes. It's his first film as well, Lee Cronin. So like
wow, fair play to him.
he did a really, really fucking good job. And like the special effects and all that sort of stuff. It's very hard to pick a flaw with the film.
Mhm.
It's
I can't wait. I have
It's
to
really
see that.
good.
I really have to watch that.
It's
I
excellent.
really do.
So from one director to another,
Yes.
that was a terrible transition.
yeah, that was a
The Hateful
ham-fisted
Eight.
segue right
Yeah.
But
there.
my week was great, but thanks.
Sorry. Did
Well,
you do
Aiden overran, so
yeah. Did you do anything exciting or no?
No, I've been off for 10 days.
nice.
Have you?
So yeah, I
So sitting around masturbating.
Oh yeah.
maybe.
Well, obviously a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I went and got some new tats.
Yeah.
Well, one giant new tat.
Or you started it anyway.
I started
the
the
whole
start of a
sleeve.
progression.
Yeah.
And then I just done some photography work and stuff. But
Nice.
yeah, that was it. Yeah, I'm good. Anyway,
Very good,
Tarantino.
yeah.
Tarantino, The Hateful Eight.
The Grateful Mates.
I had not seen this before. I'm sure everyone else here had.
I hadn't.
I hadn't.
Oh,
Did you know?
No.
okay, Jesus,
I've
okay.
never seen it.
So
I
it's just
thought I
Aiden.
thought I did, but I watched the Adam Sandler ripoff.
The Ridiculous Six.
Yeah.
That's based on
Um,
the Magnificent Seven, so it's a completely different
Is
film.
It's a
Yeah.
different shark.
I'm sure The Hateful Eight took
Yeah, I'd imagine. took,
inspiration from The
inspiration.
Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what were your first impressions of?
2 hours and 47 minutes of this. That's the first thing I wrote down and the first thing I
Yeah.
remember. I was like, play. Whoa. 2 hours and 40. Oh, this is
So
gonna be a long
I was
night.
after my kerfuffle with getting the film wrong, because I had looked up Django the night before, and I was like, "Geez, this film's nearly 3 hours long." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh God, this is gonna be." And then when Aiden told me, "Oh no, we're watching a different film," I was like, "Great." Looked up that 2 hours 47.
No, I
I
said
was
it
like,
to
"You
him.
fucking prick!"
He's like, oh, thank God, because he said to me, thank God, because Django's nearly 3 hours. Like, no, so's this. It's like, bollocks. If it's not Reservoir Dogs, his first film,
Mhm.
you're in for a long
He makes
flight.
long films.
He does,
He
yeah.
does.
That's just
Like,
the
the one
style.
thing I find about this straight off the bat was you have that whole scene, right, where it's Sam Jackson meets, what's his name?
The Hangman.
Kurt Russell,
Yeah.
the Hangman.
Mhm.
And you have that's like 20 minutes of pure back and forth
Mhm.
talking
Yeah.
before the so-called new sheriff in Red Rock comes in.
Yeah. I
and
love
it's
him,
just-
but what's his name? Is it Walter Goggin?
Walter
I would say
Walton
this
Goggins.
became
Walton
so
Goggins,
much
sorry.
shorter.
What?
That could have been so much shorter.
Yeah.
It could
yeah.
be, this is one thing Tarantino throws in: a lot of information
Yeah.
and a long
Yeah.
scenes.
Well, so
Like-
I was saying to Joe, because Joe watched it before me, and then I sat down and watched it, and he was watching some of it with me. And even the long scenes, I was like, it brings me back to like when I was in college, and we used to talk about like film noir, which is like really, really long, dragged out scenes, but gives you so much information that you're like, whoa, what's going on here? And it kind of reminded me of them type of movies, which I kind of brought me back, and I kind of enjoyed that. But again, I was like, come on.
It's a love-hate relationship with that kind of style, because
Yeah.
you're like, God, move on to the next scene. But then
Yeah.
you're like, whoa, can I get more information?
Yeah. Yeah.
The funny thing is, I thought with this one, so I went in with that kind of same attitude, and it's one of the downsides of doing this podcast and trying to get films watched on a deadline. Sometimes you're like, I don't really feel in the mood to watch this film, but I kind of have to watch the film.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm going to sit down, I have to watch this film for tomorrow, so whatever. But then once I got into it, it didn't feel to me like the film felt overly long.
Yeah.
Like, even though the scenes were long scenes, like they were zipping along, there was enough interest in happening, and kind of the interplay between the 8 characters overall kind of just made them zip along, and it was kind of, there's just so much back and forth and little nuance to, like, even if you're looking for, you know, subtle little hints or body language or whatever else. And I'm guessing it comes a lot from working with the same actors. Because if you look at the people in this film, you've got fucking Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, Samuel L. Jackson. So, like, there's 3 people off the bat that he's worked with on numerous films.
Kurt Russell as well.
Kurt Russell.
in Death Proof.
You might have played Joe Gage. What's his name?
That's Michael Madsen.
Oh, that was him, was it?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. I always
Um,
forget his name and the guy who plays the sheriff for Red Rock.
Walton Goggin.
Walton
Fucking-
Goggins.
He is phenomenal.
He's
in this
great.
film.
He's one of the best
Holy
people.
shit.
He's one of the best actors in Sons of Anarchy. He's one of my favorites.
Yes.
He's also
oh,
very-
fuck, he plays the trans, isn't
The
he?
the
Transgender.
transgender. Yeah, I was trying to think of the right word because it's 2019 now. And you have to walk
Yeah,
on
I know.
eggshells around.
He
The tranny. Thank you. That's the right
He's,
word.
He's a tranny from Sons of Anarchy. Let's
But
not be
like,
afraid to say.
So like that you know, this is a total aside, obviously, but that whole storyline between
Trig and
Walton Goggins'
fucking
character is amazing and really heartfelt and really well done.
he's very
Yeah.
good in The Shield as well.
I'd say
Is
he
he?
is because he's fucking brilliant in the 2 things I've seen him in. He's excellent.
That's one of the main things I take away from this is I know that guy from so many fucking things.
Yeah.
And I never know.
You also know him as the main
actor.
bad guy in Tomb Raider.
Oh god.
What, the crap one that we watched?
The one that we watched in
latest one?
Amsterdam, yeah.
Oh,
the
that
new
must
one,
be
yeah.
that must
The
be
new one?
before.
Didn't he's actually like that?
No,
I
sure.
thought it was
Just on a
perfect.
quick 30-second side note.
It was
on that,
No,
another
it was
30
crap.
seconds. It was a perfectly popcorny film.
Ah,
Like, it
right.
was
I
literally
thought,
just...
I thought it sucked, but like,
Yeah, you came out of that hate now. I think
Yeah.
you and Lindsay, was it? I think
yeah.
Lindsay despised that.
But like,
film.
it was for Hannah's birthday and she enjoyed it, so that's the main thing,
Yeah.
really. But and it was in a real fancy
Is it the
cinema.
main
So
thing?
no, fuck Hannah.
I thought it was okay. But
Walton
one of those things
Goggins
that-
also in Predator, I think. Was he in one of those Predator films?
Oh, I
Not
think
the
he
first one,
was.
anyway. I'm sure I would have
No,
noticed.
he was
No.
probably a baby when
He's
the
a
first Predator came
great
out.
actor in this film, though.
Yeah,
Like
he's
he
brilliant.
got this really. I love the accent he has in this film. It's just so good, and even the little euphemisms in the. It's like, does he know how famous you was? It was like, I fucking
Yeah.
love that. And it's just this
He was.
build up to it.
Sorry, he was. He was in Predators.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The second one?
No, that's
Or-
Predator too.
Shit, yeah, isn't it?
Well,
Predators
Boogaloo.
is like the one with the pianist guy.
See, do you know what's really annoying about that? It's
Why
Predator,
can't I think of
Predator
Ray Fiennes?
2,
No,
Predators,
Wait, what's
The
his
Predator.
name? Machete.
Machete?
Wasn't that the one he was in? With Machete?
Oh, I don't know. Does it?
I'm thinking of Tarantino.
Um,
Jesus Christ.
It doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah, that whole thing in the carriage with him.
Yeah.
Even his little thing was like, when he goes, "Don't you talk that hateful talk?" And
Yeah.
it's just, I was like, "No." It's like, I'm just gonna rest my head over here. And I was like, "He's fucking brilliant."
Yeah.
And even when like it's not jumping too far ahead, but even when it's like something's wrong's going on here, and it's like, "You get over here on this side" and stuff. And he's like, Sam Jackson would say something, and he goes,
Yeah.
"You're damn right." And it's like an Obi over there. Mm-hmm. He's like this black sassy woman in the corner,
Yeah.
just kind of like, you know what?
Yeah.
I got my on the ugliest one in the room. That's you, Joe Gage. I swear to God, he's my favorite character this whole film.
Yeah,
Like,
he is. Yeah, he is very much arguably the
Fucking
best. Sam Jackson is amazing in it, as per usual as
Isn't
well.
this his first like Tarantino one where he's kind of at the forefront of it, not just sharing a role of a main character or?
I
or
consider
Jackie
he was
Brown
a main
counts.
character. He was a main
was a main
character in
character in-
Jackie Brown. He was a main
in
character in
Pulp
Pulp
Fiction,
Fiction as
yeah.
well.
Yeah,
This
is like him. Like yeah, I was pretty happy with Sam Jackson.
Yeah, he was excellent.
He always shines though, doesn't he? Like
Yeah.
when like in the most unexpected roles.
Yeah.
Like Django did not expect his character to be anything other than
Yeah.
he's this house servant. Then he even pulls off that weird
Yeah,
looks
yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. You're
Mhm.
like,
I've not seen that film, so
what's he
I
doing
was
up on
a-
that nag?
I was adrift
I
to.
love that.
Is that in Django? I was adrift to. I was this. I was. He just says all the things that he was, whatever.
I can't
Maybe that
remember.
wasn't Django. Maybe it was. Oh no, it was Kill Bill. It's Kill Bill. He's like,
Okay.
I was a drifter. I was a smuggler.
Mhm.
I was, because he's in Kill Bill for like fucking 2 minutes.
he's the piano player.
Yeah.
What about me? I can play that.
Your one who plays Daisy.
Yeah, she was nominated for an Oscar for that
Mhm.
shit.
Was she?
She
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Best
Deservedly so.
supporting actress.
Holy crap!
Absolutely,
Like the
yeah,
first,
she's amazing.
like the first 10 minutes of that film, she gets like her jaw broke, her nose broke,
Mhm.
Yeah.
busted eye,
She's
top of her head.
Oh, she's repulsive though, isn't she? She's amazing in it. Like,
I was like,
She plays
eye,
that character
jaw,
so well.
nose.
She
Like,
was
Yeah.
probably my favorite character in the movie.
she's
Really?
amazing. isn't
Then
she?
she was your
I
favourite?
thought her comedy just brought it together
Mhm.
for me.
Yeah.
Like overall, I wasn't too pushed on the movie just because it was like very, very long.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It could have been a hell of a lot shorter with the
Yeah,
story,
like-
but I think she kind of made, even though she had barely any dialogue in the whole thing,
Yeah.
up until the end, she had like her big speech.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I think just her little witty bitch throughout it kind of
Her
just
quips
made the
every so
movie-
often,
Yeah,
yeah.
it kind of just brought everything back down for me. Like,
Mhm.
It's funny, like I started watching on because we were supposed to record last Tuesday, but I started watching on the Monday night. I think I watched the first hour and a half, and I was really tired, so I said, you know what, I'll just get up early in the morning, and between tomorrow morning and lunch at work, I'll finish it. And I, like you, Ken, I found it quite long when I was watching it that night, but then the next morning / at lunchtime, I was like, oh, this is actually grand now.
It's a
But-
frame of mind thing.
But yeah, I think so, yeah. But particularly when the coffee gets poisoned, then like you're fucking really locked
it's
in.
kind of a
Mhm.
it's a fluid story then
Yeah.
of go.
that's why
Yeah.
Domergue. That's why this chapter is called Domergue's Got a Secret.
Yeah.
That
That was
The
out of
voiceover, by the
nowhere narrator for like 10
It's
minutes
Tarantino.
was
Yeah.
fucking weird.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit. It still worked for me. It did feel a little bit out of place, though, kind of, didn't
I
it?
found the fact that
But
the
it's still
chapter
worked, I
1
think.
and 2 had just the chapter name and nothing else, and then for that one with chapter 3, suddenly there's a narrator, and you're like,
I thought, it was very jarring.
wait, hold on,
'cause
you're
I was
bringing in
like,
a
Yeah.
narrator
but
now?
then
Yeah.
it doesn't go back to him again after.
The last
really.
chapter doesn't have a narrator
Yeah.
either.
No,
so
yeah, it's a bit. It was a weird choice, but for me, it just it pretty much worked.
I kind of agree with Aidan. I think, and with Ken, the film gets going when everybody is shacked up in the haberdashery,
Mhm.
and that's kind of okay. Now the game is afoot as such.
Yeah, the blowjob
Yeah.
scene. Holy fuck!
That was just,
I fucking pissed myself laughing.
Yeah.
Like that, that
I
was
know,
fantastic.
and you should and you shouldn't be laughing. It's like oh, he had blood in his mouth, so it was really warm
It
and
was-
stuff.
it
It's
was
like,
like-
oh
it was
fucking
cold.
hell! Yeah,
he did
very
suck
grim.
on that thing for a
Yeah.
long time.
Put my big black
Yeah.
dick in his mouth or whatever
Pecker.
he said. Big black pecker.
Big
Yeah,
Yeah,
black
he never said the word
pecker.
like penis or
Yeah.
It was always Pecker
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Johnson.
No,
Johnson.
or that was like, you're getting images now, aren't you? I was like, you sick fuck.
yeah.
For a second, I thought he was looking at the camera,
yeah.
like directly
Mhm.
down the lens of like,
yeah.
you're getting images now, aren't you?
Yeah.
And it's just him laughing like, ah.
That amazing laugh that he has. Oh, Jesus.
I quite like as well. So one thing I liked about another thing I liked about the film was kind of, it was in essence it kind of turned halfway through like into this kind of solve the mystery type film because there's
Yeah.
little clues here
Like a
and there
whodunit
about
thing, yeah.
like a
It's like a
whodunit
really
thing. So like
Vicious version of Clue.
I was just gonna say, yeah, which I haven't seen in many years, but
I've
yeah.
never seen.
I've never
I've seen it
either.
once, and I was like, I remember like I was only 7 or 8, and like it was on TV one night. Everybody was talking about it in school the next day, like, and so I watched it. I remember really liking it. Although I do also remember Kevin Smith saying it's fucking terrible and like saying fuck Clue, all this sort of stuff. It's just like I wonder if it holds up for.
mixed, very mixed reviews on that film.
He hates it, but I enjoyed it at the time.
Yeah.
But then again, I was like 8, so what do I know? Or what did I know at that stage?
But yeah,
Yeah.
like the way it has little touches like the hat policy or the missing jar and the one jelly bean that's caught in the crack of the floor.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
those little details.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I never thought about the whole door thing until
Yeah.
the flashback.
It never really occurred to me. I thought it was
Never
just
occurred.
bad weather or something
Mhm.
like that. That's what I thought it
I
was.
love the fact that they repeat that joke like 4 times at the start.
Yeah.
The damned! I forgot.
Close
damn
the
it.
door.
It
You're
was
gonna have
always
to close it.
It was always the people who came in last
Yeah.
Yeah.
said it.
Yeah.
It was. I thought that
Dom
was really
McGee
cool,
taking the
like,
piss as well, as Kurt Russell's character is trying to say it.
Yeah.
She's just like, "Yeah, close the goddamn door."
Yeah.
It's like that, and he's looking at her like,
Yeah. It's mad as well. Look, another thing that annoyed me about when this came out at the time, it's the first film, although actually, sorry, I didn't see Death Proof in the cinema either, but it's like, apart from Death Proof, it's the first film since Kill Bill, or since Jackie Brown, actually, that didn't see in the cinema of Tarantino. So, but it was
You
out
always
for,
go see Tarantino, see?
always, yeah, of course, because I think he's a genius. He's maybe my favorite
We should
filmmaker.
wait for the facts and realise why it wasn't in many cinemas.
Is it because of the 70 mil thing?
Yes, I have a whole story on that.
Yeah,
and
I'll
it's a
let you
huge
tell
thing.
it. Yeah.
But
It's so annoying. Like, it was out for like 2 weeks or something like that in
Yeah.
Ireland. It was ridiculous.
let's just say the odds on this movie should have made this amount when it only made this amount
Yeah.
was literally because
I saw how much it made just on Wikipedia a minute
it
ago.
should have made triple, but it
Oh,
didn't
absolutely,
because
yeah.
of it. So
because he's such a ponce. He insisted on it being at 70, but you could still see it, I think, in normal.
yeah,
I
of
think
course.
anyway. I think he recommended.
It's recommended for it, but there's a whole thing.
Yeah, we'll
go
talk
through
about it when we get to the facts.
That's
yeah.
why there's
Yeah,
a
Mick
minimum
hasn't
amount
played the
of
facts
facts.
music.
It's a big
Yeah, I
one.
haven't played Fact
Yeah.
Music. Can't talk about
No,
any
can't
kind of
talk about it.
No,
Yeah.
can't talk about it.
What did you make of the whole? I'm gonna say twist. It's not really a twist.
It
The
was a
Channing
twist.
Tatum in the basement thing.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
It
And
was
that,
weird.
I think
And that whole
it kinda
flashback scene
sucked
was
a little
great.
bit. I think it
Think
kind of
so?
sucked the air out of the film a little bit.
no,
I'm not a big fan of 3/4 of the way through the film. Your main
Revealing
character
something like
that
that.
you have literally getting shot his dick off from underneath the floor by a character that has
How
never
many
been
films have you
introduced.
seen where that happens?
No, but it's one of those things
12.
where you're like, okay, what? Wait, hold on.
Joe's into dick shooting porn.
He
Yeah,
has
yeah,
a top
yeah.
12. He has a top 12 dick shot.
Well, if you want, it's the fourth
Segment.
movie with a dick being shot off in Tarantino, so I could just look back Tarantino's films.
Are you giving away facts again before Mick plays the fact
No, that
music?
was one
Shut
of my
up,
other
Joe.
one. It was one of my things. I always
Yeah.
keep spares. I
I-
wasn't a big fan of it. I thought
I loved
because
it.
of it, the payoff wasn't as
I
big for me.
agree.
in the end.
I hate when, and this goes back to more to the whodunit nature of.
Mhm.
I thought it worked okay for this film. Like I thought it was, yeah, whatever. And
Mm.
the fact that I knew Channing Tatum was in it, it was, okay, he has to appear somewhere. But I hate when those kind of whodunit films and like because part of the appeal I find of those is to looking at stuff and going, I think it's that guy. It might be that guy. That guy did that. Like trying to work through it yourself, and then,
Yep.
but then when they bring in something completely from left field, just for a purpose of a twist, and I'm not saying that's what this did.
I didn't. No,
but
I
wouldn't mind
felt.
it if
I thought it was
there
natural.
clues or
but-
there was something. Like if there was something come up.
Well, there was
to
with the jelly
introduce a
bean.
whole- yeah, but the jelly bean is not like going.
that's
hey,
more
here's
of a
Channing
clue
Tatum.
that something happened in the haberdashery
Yeah.
rather than there's a guy under the stairs.
True. Well, that was also given when Sam Jackson. I can't remember his name at all, but he's kind of questioning the Mexican
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bob,
At the
Mexican
start,
Bob.
yeah.
at the
So
start.
good.
And the thing is like, you calling me a liar? And it's
Yeah.
like, it
Not
does
yet.
kind of sound like that, doesn't it? Well, I guess I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is where I'm like, there's something really wrong about this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you know there's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
But to completely kind of turn it on its head with the thing. Now, after everything's explained and it has that lovely little back scene,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I felt
Which I
more
thought was a
comfortable.
really good way of setting up. Here's what happened before our other party of characters got
Yeah.
here.
But
So do
again,
you-
it's typical Tarantino as well.
Yeah,
was-
like
yeah,
they're
it was a
playing
little bit
with the
more
timeline
acceptable.
stuff.
Yeah.
Mm.
Then
So do you reckon they should have had the flashback before the ball shot?
No,
no, I don't think so.
No.
I think
No, 'cause
I
that
think
would've
they would've-
ruined it.
yeah, they
played
would've-
out right.
Like I didn't enjoy the ball shot.
I like that we're talking about.
Do
it.
you know what? It's because
I
we were
hate the
all
ball
rooting
shot.
for Sam Jackson's character, weren't we?
Yeah, of course.
Well, no,
I
but
was
it's
as
not
well, but I
the
still
whole
liked
It's
it.
like this unkillable hunter
Mhm.
Yeah.
gets a cheap shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels a little cheap, maybe.
That's why it's so
Instead of him
satisfying.
having like a duel and losing.
I just
Yeah.
look.
You know what I mean?
I think it ends great though because they do the whole "come on up out of the basement" and he's like, and then he turns towards his sister, and just gets shot in the back of the head. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
we don't need to drag out this thing dramatically. It's just
Yeah.
boom, done, and then that's the end of
Yeah.
that thing.
And that's a wrap on Channing Tatum. Yeah, one day.
Now fuck off and go do a dancing movie again.
Yeah.
Step up 9.
What did you guys make of the ending?
I thought the ending was a little bit lackluster. I mean, I thought the hanging was great, but the scene
Yeah, I
after
really
that,
enjoyed the hanging. Actually,
I think-
I know how weird that sounds,
Yeah.
but it was. I
Mhm.
really enjoyed
I
that.
thought the hanging
Yeah,
was
it
fantastic. But
satisfying.
I think maybe if it just ended just as her next snapped or something, if it would have just ended then.
And
Yeah.
not gone into the whole laughing
Yeah.
about the letter thing. And I want to
Yeah,
have a look at that letter. And then he starts reading it.
that just
I
felt a
love
bit
the way he
lackluster
just
to me.
scrunched her up and just fucked her on the floor though, as if like I don't give a shit, it's fake. I know.
Yeah, like that felt a bit lackluster. Like again, I know I've talked about this a couple of times in the last while, but if it's similar to Baby Driver, you didn't need that scene afterwards in Baby Driver either. If they would have just ended before they got to the bridge, same with this. If they would have just the sound of her neck snapping and then written about by Quentin Tarantino, that would have been a perfect ending.
I think
thought,
if they,
anyway.
if
So
they
wait,
had
what
been-
happened after that then?
They just lie down on the bed and I
And
think
read the letter.
Yeah, it
I
just
think
felt a bit
because remember
lackluster,
she
you know.
questioned the letters, she was laughing about the letter.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think if they had read the letter out before she got hung
yeah,
and then hung her,
yeah.
so they could have still read out the letter. But
Yeah,
read
yeah,
it out
maybe,
to
yeah.
her.
I thought the ending was kind of intense, but it was a
Yeah.
good intense
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was like she was trying to evade justice,
Mhm.
and the way Sam Jackson's character was like the hangman always gets like you don't get shot if you're
Yeah.
brought in by the hangman, and then it was just that kind of slow because it was slow and torture, so you're feeling like real put off
Yeah,
by it,
yeah.
but you're made to watch it
He should have
because
shot her while she was hanging, so she got the best of both worlds.
I felt like he was going to do that just because it was like, fuck it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was like,
the
Yeah.
last kind of point I wanted to make on this, and I know it's been said and apparently was in the works, like this film felt like it could be a stage play.
Could
Oh,
have
yeah.
Like when I came out
because
and watched
it's in one
it.
set.
Yeah, when I came out, or when I was watching it, I was like, you could have the haberdashery be the set, and you could literally do this as a theatre
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it just,
God, I would go see that.
yeah,
So would
I
I, yeah, it'd be
absolutely
amazing.
would.
Yeah.
Imagine going seeing that play where everyone just gets fucking blown to
But
pieces.
it
Yeah.
was such a and it's such a big departure from other things that Tarantino has done. I think that's kind of one of the strengths of.
But yeah, like
Well, it's
because
not
But
too
it was,
far
but
off
it was
from
familiar.
I'm actually picturing all these scenes now. So even like Poison in the Coffee, if they were like the dark
Yeah.
on the stage and have like
Mhm.
a conversation of two main characters over here,
yeah,
someone goes poison the coffee and then goes back to where
Mhm.
they were.
You
It's
could,
just like
you could actually just
Yeah.
have a light on the blue,
On
thing
the
like
coffee
that, and some
and a
and an
hand.
arm
You
just
know what I
lifting
mean?
it up
That
and
would be
pouring
perfect.
something in.
yeah.
Mick, get on that.
Oh man, this needs to be stage play.
But it
But,
was. It was
at the
kind
same
of,
time, though, like I mean, like I know you said it's very different for him, but at the same time, if you see Reservoir Dogs, most of that's in one room as well, and there's a lot of tension,
Yeah.
and there's also the who done it, like
I would
who's the
say
fucking rat.
Reservoir Dogs less so because you've
Yeah.
got more flashbacks throughout the film.
Yeah,
Whereas this had one, but the flashback took place
Was in the place.
in the same place.
yeah, yeah.
But no, I thought the thing I quite like about Quentin Tarantino's films is that even though he makes a whole load of different styles of films,
Yeah,
like they're different, but they're also familiar enough that
Yeah,
like you're able to immediately get into them. And I think that's
Yeah.
another reason why this film didn't feel that long to me,
mm-hmm.
because it was like snuggling back in is the wrong word, but like getting back in with something that you've read like 100 times. It
Mhm.
felt comfortable but new as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
kind of helped breaking it up into the chapters as well.
Yeah,
That
Yeah.
it might not have felt as long. That when it went into chapter 2, it's kind of like right, okay, breathe and let's go again.
Yeah.
yeah.
I was kind of in two minds on that. I've still not made up my mind fully on it
I didn't
because
like the way it was done, but I think it kind of
think
helped
you-
break up
I've
the
not,
length of
I've
the
not
movie.
seen Django. Is there chapters in Django?
I can't remember. I'm
No,
gonna.
I
Did you not watch
I
it for
can't
last week's
remember.
podcast?
Yeah,
I think if you
we
took
should watch
out
that
those-
soon
Pulp
as well.
Fiction,
But yeah.
Pulp Fiction
You
has
took out them.
chapters, and
it wouldn't have made a difference.
yeah, it wouldn't have
to the
made a
story.
difference.
No,
And that's
at
kind of
all.
where I was at. I was like,
I don't
they
think
don't
would.
need chapter names, and part of me was just thinking, and I can't really speak to it because I've not seen Django, but it's like, has he just started adding chapters to all of his like
No.
films?
I
'Cause
can't
know
remember. I
I
haven't seen
find-
Django in a while, so
Kill Bill 1 and
Chapters
2
work.
obviously do.
Chapters work really well if the next scene is a little bit more ahead in time. But what I
Yeah.
found in this one
It was
was
just constant
it
run.
was straight 1 second. Next
Yeah.
is the next chapter. You're like,
yeah,
no,
Mhm.
You're supposed to have an end to something, and then
Like
the
the way
next
a book
chapter
would
starts.
be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it starts
Yeah,
at the
it's like
the very
either
next
to
day.
a new story or a next day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did
Yeah.
read. I did read that like when the script for this got leaked,
yeah.
he then contemplated just putting it out as a book,
Yeah.
and then ended up going back into it. Anyway, Joe, do you want to dive onto your facts?
I will indeed.
That's a fact.
Facts, Max.
Just the facts, ma'am.
That's Ken's first time hearing the music in line.
Oh shit!
Congratulations on having headphones.
What? I didn't hear that.
Funny man.
Yeah. Did you not?
He
No.
did.
You totally did.
I did.
Son of a- All right.
You bastard.
This is actually the first one is not to do with the 7mm camera, but it's my favorite one of the whole thing. The guitar that Daisy Domergue
Oh, I heard this
played
as
while
well.
singing Jim Jones at Botany Bay was a
Uh-huh.
priceless antique from the 1870s on loan from the Martin Guitar Museum and worth $40,000. At the end of the song, the script called for John the Hangman Root to grab the guitar and smash it to pieces. 6 replicas were built for the shoot from the original and were supposed to be substituted for the real instrument for smashing the shot. But due to a miscommunication with Kurt Russell, was not informed and destroyed the original 1870s guitar before anyone could stop him. Jennifer Jason Lee's shocked reaction to this is actually genuine and can be seen in the released film. The Martin Guitar Museum has subsequently announced that they will never loan guitars for film shoots.
I don't
ever
blame
again.
them.
No. Especially the fucking Kurt Russell.
Uh-huh.
Oh, man,
Didn't he do
that
a
guitar
song
is
about being a
priceless.
singer-songwriter?
Like 40,000.
No idea.
Huh?
Did Kurt Russell do a movie about being a singer-songwriter? Did country singer-songwriter?
No, that's Bradley Cooper. That's A Star Is Born.
No.
Yeah, but
It's some other...
didn't Kurt Russell do the original Stars Born in the 70s?
Oh, I don't know.
No, it was one that was
Wait,
recent
Barry.
enough. It was either him or some other fucking Willie Nelson lookalike.
Was it that Graceland thing or something like that?
No.
1,000 Miles from Graceland or some shit?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
That's hard.
But
Like
yeah,
that's
if you look
Yeah.
at... when I was watching that, Joe told me after the scene, he told me about that fact.
Yeah.
And even looking at her reaction
Rewind
is
it. It's
so
terrifying.
genuine.
Yeah.
It's scary.
I'm gonna have to go
the
back and
pure
look at
shock
that. Yeah.
on her face is
Yeah.
crazy. Like, it's not just something that you go, "Oh my god, he's smashing the guitar. I was playing the tune on." It's like, "Holy shit, you just smashed the 40,000 quid guitar."
They're
love to-
supposed to
I'd love-
stop,
yeah.
reset, and give him one of the things because she's holding the original.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And as soon as that hands over to Kurt, it's supposed to go into a thing. But because of his actor's flow, he went straight into the scene and just followed
Oh.
on, so that he didn't even get the cut.
At
And it's
some-
just straight smash.
At some point, just fucking don't use a $40,000 dollar
Yeah, just
guitar.
use the
Build the
replicas
replica;
throughout.
it'll be fine.
That's an estimate of it. Some people are saying online, especially the Johnson or the Martin Guitar Museum,
Mhm.
that they can go from 40,000 up to like 200,000 because they're original. They're from the
That's horrid.
between
Like that-
1830s and 1870s. These guitars are made of a certain
Mhm.
wood in a certain place, and that no longer
And over time,
exists,
like
so
the sound changes and stuff like that.
How,
I'd say as well.
how
so.
much apologising did he have to do for that?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm
It's
sure
like
Quentin
what's
Tarantino
those
didn't apologise at
violins?
all.
Yeah.
What's those violins that are worth millions?
The fiddles.
There's a
My
company
violin.
that makes them, and it someone
Viola.
I think they're
snapped
called
them in half
that particular type
before.
of fiddle is called the fiddly
Anyway, that's one.
Great fiddle.
I love
Thank you.
that. Anyway, the next thing, the next two is pretty much to do with the whole debacle that he did, putting it in Ultra Panavisions.
I love the man, but what a wanker!
So-
But go on.
Most theaters worldwide had to have film projectors replaced with have had their film projectors replaced with digital projectors.
Yeah, makes sense.
As traditional film stock was no longer in favour. As a fan and supporter of celluloid, writer and director Tarantino aggressively fought with distributors for the film to be shown in its original Panavision 70 presentation. As a result, only 50 theatres internationally were retrofitted with anamorphic lensed 70mm analog film projectors to display the film as he intended it. It was released on December 25th, 2015 as a roadshow presentation in 70mm analog format in theatres exclusively before being released to digital theatres eventually on December 30th. So
Yeah.
eventually it did get out to
Mhm.
all of them, but by then it was already, the hurt had been done with
Yeah.
the 70
Yeah.
mil. The Weinstein Company spent $8 to $10 million to find, procure, rebuild and install 70 mil analog projectors and to train over 200 projectionists needed to operate them in 96
It's
96
such an
US theaters.
It's such an unnecessary thing to be so pushy.
But you
about.
can't beat the look of an anamorphic lens.
Oh no, I'm sure there's.
Digitally.
I'm sure
But then
there's.
just give the option.
Here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about it. The film's 70mm version is a heavyweight in more ways than one. The analog film is spooled on 20 reels to watch the film, with a combined running time of 3 hours and 7 minutes on the Panavision 70mm,
Yeah.
and weighs in at over 250 pounds.
Yeah. So that's what. So the version we watch is the shorter version as well, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah, the digital is shorter.
Yeah.
It's so
Because
weird.
there's an
like-
intermission, I think, in the 70
At
version.
each chapter.
That's a little. That's what's that, pedantic? Is that the word to use? Like, it's a bit like.
It's fucking ridiculous either way. Like, I mean,
In
again,
a
I love the
digital
man.
age, it just seems a bit much.
And like,
Like,
I
there
get the
is-
appeal.
there
Just
would
give
be-
the option. Just
There
give the
would be
option.
no
Here's the
other
70.
director that would get away with that.
Yeah.
Everyone else, apart from Tarantino, would have been told to go fuck themselves. It's been shown digital. End of.
Maybe Spielberg and maybe
He
two
also
other
had
guys.
Weinstein on his side. You know what I mean? Weinstein was the dickhead now. Always has been. But horrible human being. But the guy has so much. You gotta notice the influence Weinstein has.
That's
like
the
that
whole
man has power
Or had.
topped on had power on top of power.
Is his
on
brother
top of
still
power.
the head of Miramax? Or
the Weinstein company? I've no idea.
I can't see that.
I'm
being
curious how that
here
works.
in the next few years.
Anyway,
yeah. Okay. So next,
just a fact.
well, that's that. Yeah, just a fact. There are 3 subtle references to Django Unchained in the film. First, when we meet
No
Major
spoilers,
Warren,
please.
he's sitting on top of 3 corpses and a saddle. The saddle is from the film Django Unchained.
A saddle. A saddle, right?
Django's saddle with his name on it.
Oh, can you actually see his name?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's okay then.
And the second is in Minnie's haberdashery. Sitting on the floor of the haberdashery, Django's green jacket is on one of the chairs. Both of these references have been confirmed by Sam Jackson, also Walton Goggins, and also Tarantino. The character is called Hillbilly in both films. In fact, this was going to feature... Originally, the film was going to feature Django, but Quentin Tarantino scrapped the idea. The original script was of this film was the sequel to Django Unchained, called Django Stuck in White Hell.
What?
Yeah, it's a weird one. But this was supposed to be Django for the 2.
So do you think Samuel...
It is in the same world, though. It's the same.
Do you think
same
Samuel
world.
is like a grown-up Django? Just changed his name?
Actually, Sam Jackson's character was meant to be Django.
I'm glad they didn't do that then, because
that would have been awful.
After seeing Django Unchained, having him recklessly killed off.
I don't think they would have killed off Django in the sequel. I can't see it. Maybe though. It's Quentin. I don't know.
Or did
anyway,
he
it's
get
Quentin.
killed off?
What?
Or did he get killed off? You don't see him die.
That's true. They could have bring
That's
them
true
back
as well.
with mortal wounds.
You know what I mean?
What was I going to
And
say?
then it
I
pulls
do have a little
full
more
loop.
on the
Alright,
Django thing.
Oh, sorry.
Django's one. So, yeah, Django Unchained introduced the director to shooting a Western, and he immediately fell in love with that genre. After completing it, he knew he wasn't ready to let the Wild West go, so he started working on ways to continue Django in his universe. He began working on a sequel, but he kept writing. He began to realise the story was actually being held back by the presence of Django.
Right.
Which he mentioned a few times in interviews. Tarantino then scrapped his idea, put Sam Jackson in place of Jamie Foxx's Django, disallowed for other characters in the film to be a mystery to the audience, and it freed up Tarantino not to be tied to the Django as a moral compass. After all, in a movie with hateful in the title, there's little room for any character with strong morals. However, the film is still set, of course, in the Django universe, and the closest things he says you'll ever get to a sequel.
Red Apple cigarettes as well are in there.
Red Apple cigarettes are in there
reference,
as well.
Yeah.
And last one before we move on. In the Roadshow version, the N-word has been used 65 times, which is a little over half the use in Django Unchained, which is said to hold a record for a movie with most uses of the N-word in general release. One scene between Sheriff Chris Mannix and General Sanford Smithers was removed that used the word 7 times in 15 seconds, reducing the count to 58. On the main cast, Michael Madsen is the only person not to say it in the whole thing.
That's a neat little fact.
NWA bet that in about 2 seconds in one of their bleeding songs.
That's true.
Yes.
There's some cool things about that
Mm-hmm.
film. The guitar still, every time I hear it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I knew that fact before. As you were saying, it's like, oh Christ, I remember hearing this at the time. Anyway.
We move on to the list.
Go for it.
Chip, you know what? You just made the list. Oh, no. Here we go.
Here we go indeed.
And we are making the list. That was a terrible transition.
Why was that the
What is
fact
with your
slogan?
terrible transitions?
What?
Why was that the fact slogan?
Oh, you're not funny, Ken.
I think my headphones are a bit behind. I think I'll scrap the headphones.
What are you
next
thinking? Does anyone have an initial placement?
Do you have what was the last one we watched again? Do you have it in there? Or?
Greatest Showman, and it was number 35.
The Showman, you mean?
8 is not getting number 8.
The Showman.
I don't know. I really like this film.
26.
I also really like this film.
I don't think it was bad. I can't say it's bad. I said this to you. It's not a bad film.
I can't
didn't
fault it.
not enjoy it.
I
It
didn't
was just
enjoy it because of the length, but I cannot fault it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And
there
that-
was
see,
so
the-
many little things in the movie that brought it all together.
Yeah, the thing I always find with length is that it can depend so much on the time you watched it.
Yeah.
Did you watch it at 9:30 at night? Because I started watching it at 10,
Yeah,
and I was
then
stuck
it's
up till
1. And you're
1.
like, how the
Yeah.
fuck is this still on?
Have a spot.
And again,
I have a spot.
I like I said, I watched the first hour and a half. I felt it felt quite long, but then when I started watching it again the next day, I was like, "Oh, this is actually grand now."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I think if you watch it again,
Yeah.
maybe on a Saturday at 7:00, when you don't have to be up for school the next day, do you know what I mean? Like, you'll probably enjoy it a hell of a lot more. I'd say.
I have to walk the dog at 9.
Bollocks! We'll get Rosie to no. Okay, start the movie for.
I'm gonna throw in a spot.
Go on,
Yeah.
just shed a number out there.
25.
Oh wow, okay.
I said 26.
You did say 26.
I did.
I
I
also
would
think
say-
you're about 15 spots too low.
You put it in the
Oh,
top
really?
5?
No, God no.
What do you mean?
I
You
was
wanna
going to
go
say.
higher?
I would have said 23.
Oh wow, okay. No, I'm up at like 11.
You're at
11, really?
Yeah, I love this film, and
Yeah.
I think it's because I was going in and I was like, oh, 3 hours. I was going in with like no real expectations because I
over
hadn't really
Blade
heard
Runner.
anything of it.
Yeah.
Again, I'm
Holy
just throwing
shit.
that out as kind of a number. I'm not saying it would actually sit at 11,
Yeah.
but I think it's good enough to be up there. Like I preferred it to see. That's the thing. I preferred it to Superbad, so it's definitely to me. It's definitely over 17. It's everything's so close in our.
yeah.
Like if you look
it's
at the
tough.
top 15 films,
very different.
they're all so kind of close. There is an untouchable kind of top of the list, and I don't think Hateful Eight goes up that high. But for me, I mean, this could sit anywhere between 11 and 17, and I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can live with 16, actually, yeah. Well, you know what? I do think it's better than Wizard of Oz.
I prefer the Wizard of Oz myself personally, but
Again, and it's the reason, the futility of trying to make this list.
yeah.
Like, how do you compare the Wizard of Oz to the Hateful
I
Eight?
know.
They're
it's
like
so
completely
fucking
different
annoying.
films.
Different shark.
Yeah, it's a
What do you
completely
think,
different shark.
I was
You
saying
said 26.
26.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the good news is we're all fairly, like, even 26 is still fairly fucking high on the
Mhm.
Yeah,
list.
it is, yeah.
Like, you're putting it above Planet of the Apes, which is an absolute masterpiece
Yeah.
as well, and 28 Days Later, which is so hot.
I was thinking just, like, you know, after
Like,
Nice Guys.
I wouldn't prefer to watch it than 28 Days Later,
Mhm.
but I think it's overall a better movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Which
I would
is-
rather sit
yeah,
down
I'd
and watch
agree with
28 Days Later again
Yeah.
and again. Like,
Yeah, my original was just
The
after
ending
Dog.
of 28 Days... I know, we talked about it at the time. The ending of 28 Days Later just killed it for me. Rewatching it.
No.
If we are meeting maybe to make it a little fair in the teens,
Hmm.
I'd say around
2016?
16, 17.
I'd say.
See, I know you really like it, and I thought it was a great film.
I'd say it's better
The
than
Thing.
this, but
I think The
Mhm.
Thing is a better film. I honestly do.
I think it's better than The Thing.
Again, they're so totally different
Yeah.
films.
I would say 16 if we're going in the teens, but that's me. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
could live with 16.
Yeah, I could live with 16. I mean, depending on the mood I'm in, I think Doctor Strangelove is a great film.
I need
Yeah, it
to
was good.
watch
Like,
that again.
it's
to be honest.
such a dark, humoured
It was on
just-
TV the other morning. Actually, I seen like just the very end of
morning.
it. Yeah, it was like morning,
What
early
a
Four
afternoon.
weird, what a weird morning film.
Yeah, like like morning / early afternoon. It was like 1 in the day and was on TV. It
Your
was weird.
RG2 matinee. Doctor
Yeah.
Strangelove.
Yeah, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
I
Uh.
don't know if I can break the 20 mark.
Oh, really? What's better than around there? What do you think is better?
It.
Do you think so?
The
Yeah.
I
Fly
would
is
much
a stronger
rather
film.
it. But then I'm like, super bad. I'm like, no, I wasn't here when you've done
Mhm.
super bad because it definitely wouldn't have landed there. if I
Super
had my
Superbad
way.
got way higher than it should have.
Yeah.
Like it's above The Thing and The Fly now, and it definitely should be below it. Like Superbad's a great film.
I would be
but
happy
it's-
if it dropped in at number 20. Drop Fly to 21. I don't know if you still want to. If you are all agreeing on 16, I'll go with it.
So
Like,
the thing is, I can see 21 because like The Thing is a great kind of horror film. It is another great horror film. I mean, I wanted The Fly higher on our list because I
Same.
think it's
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
one of those genre pieces. That's all
that
that-
film blew me away.
that manages
was
to be
my favourite film.
emotional while at the same time starring a giant Jeff Goldblum fly.
yeah.
Was not expecting how good that film was going to be.
Sometimes Fly finds a way.
I mean, I can I
Sorry.
can see 21.
21?
I think it's better
I
than
could
The
do
Fly.
21.
I was saying
Yeah.
20.
I can see 22.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
saying 20. To
20
take the
as
Not
well.
position of
20 as
Fly.
well.
Wait,
20?
right
Yeah,
up-
I can go 20.
All right, 20.
20,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, we lock in
Done.
20 then.
Yeah.
Lock it
20 is
in.
locked in. I've written it down.
Oh, I got
Uh, How's it feel?
for once in my life.
Final thoughts on The Hateful Eight.
Need to watch it
All
again.
right.
Need to watch it again.
Sorry,
It's
it's the 20th best film we've watched for the podcast.
I was thinking it was something to do with the 70mm thing. Like it was literally, if you remember at the time, it was literally for 2 fucking weeks and then it was gone. It was
Mhm.
so irritating.
Yeah, I didn't
There
get
was
to see
also a
it as well.
time limit on, not time limit, but a time frame where those projectionists that were trained, they couldn't do it for a long time. So it wasn't going to be like,
You're working
oh,
on
you're
one
doing
film
3
a
months
day.
Yeah.
in this. It's like, no, you can't. It's like, no, we're not doing this. Because literally
Very
they have
annoying.
to
I'm
pay,
gonna
pay
hurt
those
my
guys.
back.
They have to pay those guys to go to it.
Yeah,
You've
I feel
got
like
£250 of thing, and how many times would you show it a day?
I know.
You've
I
got to
feel
do 20 reels.
I feel like it might have been
that.
it might have been out in the IFI and 70mm. I think we
Mhm.
tried to go or looking into going and then we couldn't make that week. And then the following week is like, it's gone? What the fuck? What do you mean it's
If I
gone?
went to see that and I knew about it at the time, I would demand to shake the hand of the projectionist and
Yeah.
afterwards just be like, seriously, I hope you're okay.
Yeah.
All right,
You wouldn't be
seriously,
able to
know.
shake his hand because he wouldn't be able to lift his arm afterwards.
Yeah, but he has like one huge arm.
Like Quagmire, like
He'd be
that
like
episode.
Oh, do you know, actually, that was one last thing on the thing we didn't...
All the
share.
projectionists were furious
cost-
masturbators.
That cost 10 million in wages alone
That's
for
crazy.
the Weinstein Company. 8 to
That's
10
a
million.
fucking waste of money. Just
Sorry,
give
hold on, where is
Mhm.
it?
again, give the option of 70mm. Like, hey, listen, we shot this at 70mm. If you want to do it, then here's the
Yeah,
offer.
if
Go
you
for it.
have the function,
If
to
you have
be
the
able to
means,
shoot
then-
it in 70mm, we'll put somebody in place to
Mhm.
play it.
Yeah.
$80,000 per location.
That's mad.
And how many locations were there?
They only did it in
51.
50
failed
worldwide
maths.
and 96 in America.
Mhm.
I failed
Fucking
maths.
stupid.
That's but when you look at about that, that's only less than 2 per state.
Yeah, that's mad.
That's sad. But
Which is why
anyway,
it didn't make
But yeah,
all
like-
of its money.
The impression this film left on me, like I was almost tempted to watch it again to refresh myself for the podcast.
so was I because I
Like-
did really enjoy it.
yeah, and I think
Even when you said about like the jelly bean and stuff, I was like, the fucking jelly bean.
Yeah.
Right on the
Fuck is
floor.
the jelly bean? And then,
Yeah.
yeah, the jelly bean.
Because I specifically remember the jelly bean, and I honestly I'd forgotten. No, I watched it when it soon after it came out, like one very very hungover day in early January. And me, Martin, and Adele watched it together, and it was fucking brilliant. But even when I was watching, I totally forgot who lived and who died at the end. It's
Mhm.
like I couldn't remember how. I remember someone got hung. Didn't even remember it was
the
girl.
answer is everybody.
Yeah,
Everybody
pretty much.
died.
Yeah. Which
Oh,
again is
did
similar to
they?
Reservoir Dogs because nearly everybody
Mhm.
dies in that too,
True.
apart from Steve Buscemi's character. But yeah,
Apparently,
I-
there's hidden audio in that film where you can hear him being arrested by the police if you enhance
that's
the.
cut from the script.
Yeah,
I have the screenplay at home, or not the screenplay, but I have like a print of the
The
screenplay.
original.
The original.
You can buy the screenplay, and like
Mhm.
like one thing that was cut from the thing is like, no,
Buscemi
wait,
getting
no,
arrested,
don't
yeah.
shoot. So but yeah, we should watch Django Unchained at some point in a
Mhm.
few weeks
Yeah.
or a month or two
And I
before
think
Preacher starts again.
It
'cause
seems
you
like
need
we're
to
all
see
in,
it.
yeah. It
Yes.
seems we're all in agreement that like it's just another notch in or another feather in Tarantino's hat.
He's
Yeah.
He
only
hasn't.
got
I don't
2
think
more
he's made a
films
bad
left.
film.
He has not made a bad film. I hope he changes his fucking mind. By
Yeah.
the way, I think it's a
10.
terrible idea.
Like,
Do you know that, Ken?
Wow.
He wants to make 10 films and then stop. Tarantino.
And
that's why he on
this was his
his
eighth.
next film, which we'll talk about in the thing. But it's,
Yeah, I've been news about
one
that.
night
but yeah.
in
The delightful
Once upon a
night.
time in
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
it comes right underneath the tagline.
Full
Tarantino,
night.
Quentin Tarantino's 9th film.
The director's 10, and then he's out. Yeah,
Yeah.
his 10th film is apparently going to be his last.
Anyway,
And
so
it'll
we
be
can
a self-diagnosed autobiography.
Yeah.
we can discuss all Tarantino and more in part 2 when
Yeah.
we come back.
Can we?
So we're going to discuss question of the week, news, and Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, boy.
Tarantino.
Won't you?
And welcome back to part 2 of Preachin' on Preacher at the Movies. We're going to be discussing the news in our new news segment. Still no jingle for that one.
You have one, don't you?
No,
I thought you were
I
gonna use
couldn't
the-
use that one.
Oh, come on, just do it.
come on,
No,
Please do
I don't
it.
even know where it is anymore.
Do it.
Do
And in part
it,
2
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. We'll stop saying this if you do it.
Part 2 of the second half will be our question of the week, which will be discussing all things Quentin Tarantino.
Do it.
Christ, that means all right. I'm gonna have to search for bloody news again.
Oh, but the one you had a second ago was amazing.
I know. I need to find it.
We've got
yeah.
time. We've got time.
Do we have time?
If we slightly talk over it, will it break the copyright?
Sure.
Play it in reverse.
That's how that works. Yeah.
Martin.
I think this might be it. It's 20 seconds long.
Yeah,
Go for
brilliant.
it.
Go for
Okay.
it.
News jingle.
In 3.
Ah, your shit internet. Hang
What?
on, it's building to the breakdown.
It's building.
God's sake. Why didn't you hotspot off me?
What?
You can hotspot off my phone.
I'm not. That's too
Oh,
much
fuck
effort.
it.
It's gone wrong. All right. Let's just go
Fuck
with
it, that'll
your
do.
news.
Thank you, Michael.
And over to you, Joe.
The only reason you wanted me to
News.
play the music is so you could go. And thank you, Michael.
This week on the news.
You know what? I'm leaving this on, and it's going to burst in randomly on
Fair
some
enough.
part of the
Yeah, we can just have it on the background when it eventually loads. So,
This
couple
week
of things.
on Preacher News.
Yeah, this week on the news, a couple of things. The last section of which actually links into the question of the week, which is handy. So Captain Marvel. It's another absolute fucking juggernaut of Marvelness.
Yeah, they've
I
rarely
get it.
ever
Yeah.
done bad these days, have
Yeah.
they? They've done pretty well for themselves.
Yeah,
So
they
from-
made a few quid.
It's
Ah,
been
couple
out
of dollars.
it's been
Yeah.
out for just over 2 weeks. So like
Mhm.
this is from Empire from last week or the week before slightly. Look out, lads! The women's is coming for our superhero movies. Blithely ignoring the manufactured outrage. This is an outrage and
Stop
negativity.
making my Boosh references.
Negativity spewed online. Captain Marvel proved to be another success story for Marvel Studios and Disney.
Mhm.
The latest hero to join the team saw her solo debut soar to $153 million in the US alone. That was the opening weekend, according to studio
Wow.
estimates. Worldwide, the movie's made more than $455 million in just one weekend, pointing to a
Holy
successful run. Now, as of Paddy's Day, Box Office
St.
Mojo...
Patrick's Day.
as of Patty's Day...
Don't you even dare.
You
You tan.
This is an outright... Box Office Mojo puts it at $773 million worldwide
Whoa.
so far. So it'll
Holy shit.
very likely to get over $1 billion, which is no mean feat considering it's the first introduction of Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
21 movies in.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fucking good, isn't it?
The fact that they're still making that amount of money,
Yeah.
20 odd movies into their universe, is fucking insane.
It's crazy.
I'm genuinely curious as to when this Marvel Cinematic Universe dies down.
Yeah.
Like, when do they start seeing, less
Numbers
profits
I
per
don't know.
film?
I don't
They
know.
Because it seems like every single film is bigger than the next
I
one.
know,
Yeah.
it's fucking insane.
That's why they keep releasing them.
And the thing is as well, the quality hasn't dipped at all.
No.
Out of 21
I actually
movies,
think they
there's...
just keep getting better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly,
same.
I think...
the best ones in the series have literally been in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, out of the 21 movies that have been released so far, now I've missed maybe 2 of them, but out of the sort of 19 that I've seen, there's 2 or maybe 3 that I wasn't mad on.
Mm.
All the rest are
Yeah.
fucking excellent.
Yeah.
And like you said, they do generally keep getting better. But another part of the Captain Marvel thing, just alluding to the negativity spewed online.
Mhm.
Early on the day of opening day on the Friday, the latest MCU movie had a dismal audience score of 33% on Rotten Tomatoes from over 58,000 reviews.
Mm-hmm.
That afternoon, though, the number of audience reviews dropped drastically to 7,000, good for a 35% score. So what they said was, Rotten Tomatoes, quote, "We've identified a bug in the post-release functionality for the movies that have released into theaters since their product update last week. The quantity of user ratings, which is displayed, had included both pre-release and post-fan voting. We're disabling the common function prior to the movie's release date. Unfortunately, we've seen an uptick in the non-constructive input, sometimes bordering on trolling, which we believe is a disservice to our general readership." So, yeah, so people were just trying to downvote it because of...
Yeah.
And I was trying to find out why. I think part of it is like you've one faction
They're
of people...
putting women's in my comic book movies.
Part of it is that, but there's other...
Been in it for years.
I
I don't
know.
see what this is.
I know. There's other people that are saying,
the first
oh,
one
like...
where a woman is helming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
a
This is
franchise.
it's the first Marvel film with a female lead.
And the thing
Yeah.
is, like, people were saying as well, like, I was thinking, oh, maybe she was a guy in the books, but like, there's several Captain Marvels throughout the years
Yeah.
since she was introduced, or since he or she was introduced in the 60s
I
or
can name
70s.
at least 4. Yeah.
But if there's 6 or 7, or if there's let's say there's 8, half are men and half are women, so
Yes.
it's fair game to have a female lead.
Yeah.
So people giving out with that can fuck off.
Yeah,
Like,
there
they
was a
can
lot
fuck
of,
right
from what
off.
I've seen on it, people were saying it because of the way Shazam is out this year.
Mhm.
If anyone doesn't know the history, Shazam used to be a Marvel one and Captain Marvel used to be a DC owned
Yeah.
went on it, and there was a swap in the 80s.
Okay.
It was a thing to get back at each other and stuff like
That's
that.
weird.
DC finally got their character they wanted originally named Shazam anyway, but they only named it Captain Marvel to piss off Marvel.
Right. Okay.
And then there was a swap. There's so much history to that. There's a documentary you can watch on it before they came together, where there was comics like Shazam versus Captain Marvel, or they joined up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The original was Captain Marvel, which if you watch the film, Marvel is played by your one. I can't think of her. The
No, I
actress
can't
name,
remember.
but, in this, it's Marvel.
Annette Bening.
The original Captain Marvel died in the comics in like the 60s, and he wasn't brought back.
Right.
at
Okay.
all. He died of cancer, I think it was.
That's grim.
But
Another
there's
tiny bit
always
of
been different iterations of it. Fuck, like, there's a female fucking Iron Man now, and there's a
yeah.
like Ironheart. There's a female.
Thor was a
Everything.
woman in the
Thor.
comics for a while.
It was actually Jane Foster took up the mantle, who was dying of leukemia, and the only way to save was to take up Thor's hammer.
That's mad.
Nick Fury wasn't
so-
always black.
No, he was originally white.
So wait, hold on. The cure to cancer is Thor's hammer.
Thor's hammer.
Ah.
Give me a shot of him.
Yeah.
I
Just
want
suppose
You'd love a
hammer.
bit of Thor's hammer.
She
Of
chose
course I would.
something.
Gotta drop the hammer.
That comic book run ended due to she done something unworthy of the mantle of Thor, and within minutes died.
Didn't get
Harsh.
her,
Like, fuck.
didn't get her kit
Um,
off.
Yeah.
Didn't get them out.
Did-
Didn't get her hammers out.
So wait, what was that number that you said it made in its first weekend?
455 million worldwide.
So
Wow.
as of now,
Oh, you have
That's
that.
what I just said.
latest on Wiki is 779.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Ken just doesn't
Holy
listen to the
shit.
podcast.
Yeah. No, I said that a second ago.
Yeah, I know.
But how many, if you can look it up real
Yeah.
quick, how many Marvel films have hit the $1 billion mark?
Yeah, we'll
It's
find
not-
out.
It's only. Is it 2?
Infinity
I
War is
feel
the
it's
one.
a few
Infinity
more.
War, Black Panther.
I feel like there's a
Didn't
few more, but I
Guardians,
could be wrong.
didn't Guardians 2 hit it as
I've
well?
no idea.
Possibly.
Maybe I might be thinking of
Did you say
something
1
else.
billion?
1
Yeah.
billion mark, yeah. All
That
right,
was-
do you want to go on to the next one there? What he's doing
Just
there?
one other tiny bit of Captain Marvel news. I thought this was nice. Captain Marvel had a big opening in the theaters at opening weekend.
Sorry, phrasing.
And
Are we doing phrasing anymore?
big
No.
opening. And lead actress Brie Larson did her part to garner some additional excitement around the film. Over the weekend, she headed to an AMC theater in New Jersey
I saw these
where she
pictures.
sold snacks and surprised audiences. I
I
thought
saw
that was really
Did
nice.
you see the videos?
I did,
She
yeah.
served popcorn, and it
Yeah.
took about the fourth
Mhm.
person in line to realise who it was.
Yeah.
She was wearing a Captain Marvel trackies.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like just like an old pair of trackies in the colour
Yeah.
of like Captain Marvel, and was handing
Yeah.
out popcorn.
She genuinely seems
like-
to be enjoying the whole Marvel, being
Yeah.
part of the Marvel
Yeah.
I
cinematic
think
Well, it's
so,
a
yeah.
universe.
huge
thing.
world to be part of.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Well, she's going to be the one helming for the next 10 years, so like she's got to be in for the long haul.
Yeah.
And also,
like-
this is neither here nor there, but I do like the fact that Captain America and Captain Marvel were both in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. So the alumni from that film are doing great business. Next bit of news, Bohemian Rhapsody 2.
What?
Electric Boogaloo.
I've heard. I thought that was just a rumor of hey, we can
Yeah,
do
well, in a
it.
new
They want to do it from Wembley to.
Christ, I hope
death?
that doesn't happen.
So do I. In a new interview, longtime Queen music video director Rudy
Giuliani.
Dolezal stated that Bohemian Rhapsody 2 is being, quote, heavily discussed in the Queen family. As for how or when the sequel will take place, they said that the band's manager, Jim Beach, might have plans for a sequel that starts at Live Aid. So this has not been confirmed by the band or anyone else in their camp, but these talks are still more than likely happening. But like what they said was like Freddie Mercury, like in the last 6 years of his life, between Live Aid and his death, he was very private and stuff. So how the fuck they can actually make a movie out of that? And everything post Freddie dying, like they got the Queen are like a fucking caricature of themselves now at this point. So I don't think anyone wants to see that film, quite frankly. But anyway, next bit of news, Suicide
I did
Squad.
see. Sorry to come back
Yeah.
to it. I know we talked about it, the Oscar thing.
Mhm.
Like that one, best editing, and some of the clips I've seen posted since that.
Yeah.
It's like MTV style, a cut every second thing.
Yeah.
Don't want to criticize that film overly because I've not seen it.
Yeah.
I've heard Remy Malik is very good.
Yeah, it is as a film unto itself, in spite of
Yeah.
the historical inaccuracies and stuff. It is really fun, but it's a
Ken,
bit weird.
If you're still looking it up, I have it in front of me. If you want.
Oh yeah, I can't find it. Look,
There's
most
6.
of the ones that I'm
Oh,
doing is
6.
like
Six.
700 million.
Yeah, I got
a
it.
billion marks.
You can see the box office listing for all films on it. The first one was the original Avengers
Okay.
is 1.5 billion. Iron Man 3 with 1.2.
Right.
So that was first because that was before the first Avengers.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, definitely.
Iron Man 3
I'm
was
really certain,
after.
yeah.
No, Iron Man 3, Avengers 1, isn't it?
No, because in Iron Man 3 he has PTSD from the going through the wormhole.
Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah.
Next bit
Oh,
of
it might have been
then
before Age of Ultron. Sorry.
You have Age of Ultron was 1.4 million.
Okay.
Civil War was 1.1
Billion, you mean?
billion. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's
That'd be a terrible fucking mistake.
Black Panther was 1.3 and Infinity War was 2 billion.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, 1 point something million doesn't even cover Robert Downey Jr.'s like catering bill for those films.
Doesn't cover his bed sheets.
I literally just found it there.
Okay.
Sauce.
Next bit of news: Suicide Squad 2, which say that 5 times fast.
Suicide
Squad 2. Say that 5 times fast. The
James
Suicide
Gunn.
Squad will reportedly put the spotlight on Deadshot. Will Smith left the role, and Idris Elba is taking over
Heard that.
after being James Gunn's first choice to reboot the role. According to sources, James Gunn's Suicide Squad 2 is going to be based off of the John Outstrander and Kim Yale's 80s run of Deadshot,
Nice.
not the new 52 version that David Ayer used.
Mm-hmm.
If this is true, things are going to take place earlier and feature a time when the character was reckless and suicidal, which is a far cry from the conflicted criminal struggling to raise his daughter that Will Smith wrote in the 2016 movie. Which could also be a reason why Will Smith stepped down from the role. Apparently that's a good thing. I've no
It's
idea.
pretty-
The fact that it's
down.
not a sequel. The fact
Yeah,
that
it's pretty
a
much a
full
reboot.
It's a full
It's
reboot.
mad, isn't it? It's really telling, isn't it?
It's telling how bad DC is getting, where they
Yeah.
have to bring in someone to go, all right, we made a film less than 3 years ago, we
Yeah.
need you to reboot it.
Mhm.
It's like, what the fuck? Like,
And also, I forgot to put this in the news, but James Gunn's been rehired for Guardians 3, which is
He
a
is,
fucking
he's back.
wonderful,
Suppose
wonderful news.
the news coming out of it, they never looked for another director.
They watched him fit.
They decided this months ago
what-
that he was
what
never
hap-
leaving the role.
What happened was they fired him to placate the nutters on
yeah.
Twitter that wanted him sacked,
Yeah.
and they probably always intended to rehire him once the thing had blown over.
Yeah, possibly.
Can
next,
we leave historic tweets that people have apologized for a
Close your
million
Twitter now.
times
Twitter is a cesspool
out
of
of this?
awfulness.
Oh,
Even
stop.
if you close it now, it's still there.
It's
Oh,
still there for
The
public.
same thing with Kevin Hart over the Oscars thing. That was fucking bullshit as well.
He
Like,
should not have stepped down from that. That
No.
was ridiculous.
He apologized several times, and they still ended up having this fucking step down. It was stupid. But anyway, other
Well,
news.
Step down, and it's not really like he has far to go.
It's like,
Sorry,
not
I
like
feel
took
like I'm turning into the Rock there with
Yeah.
the abusiveness.
Yeah, short arse. Toy Story 4 had its first full trailer today.
Yeah, look good.
I watched it. I don't think it looks great. To be honest with you.
There's nothing fantastical about that trailer, is there?
No, because Detective Pikachu's latest trailer, that does a great job of making you want to see the film. This does not. It looks
I've
like same old,
not-
same old.
There's
but
nothing
not in a
good
good
about
way.
like any of the movies. In fairness,
I've not seen
Excuse
3,
me.
so I don't know. Toy Story 1, still a classic.
So it's looking like
Toy Story 2, didn't think it was as good.
it looks
Not
like
as good, but still deadly.
The
Yeah.
Bo is back in it.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't in the third one, if I remember
No,
correctly.
she wasn't.
So she's been found at this. Alright, so it's on the road
Mm-hmm.
because the
Again.
family he's with is going to a fair,
Mm-hmm.
and they have all these toys there, and they've
Is
made
it a
home.
World's Fair? State Fair?
State Fair or the what's that Tony Stark one? I don't know. But like trying to get back on it, and then it seems like Woody doesn't want to. He wants to leave.
Yeah.
Nothing in that trailer really gave me an idea of, do I want to see this film?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Exactly. Like 2 and 3, just very, very quickly. 2 and 3 have that element of repetition with like the Buzz not realizing he's a toy in 2 and 3, and the whole escape thing and having to rescue toys. Like that repetition is there in 2 and 3, but they do it in such a way that it doesn't feel like it's repetition, and it feels. They still manage to make it feel fresh, but this it looks like same old, and just not in a good way. And the last
So
bit of
wait and
news,
see.
I promise, which segues into our question will be quite nicely. The first 2 posters from Quentin Tarantino's upcoming 9th film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, have finally debuted. Have you seen these?
I've seen that one. I've not seen the other one.
So one of them is Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio, and
Brad
the other
Pitt's
one,
fucking photoshopped face.
Yeah, it looks about
it looks a
30
bit
years
weird.
younger, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it looks a bit weird, but I can't imagine Tarantino will be using CGI for that. But who knows? And then the other one is Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate.
Is there any idea of what it is?
What it's about? Not really. I know it's set in the Manson universe, but like the
The
Charles
what
Manson,
universe?
the Charles Manson thing.
Oh, okay.
But at the same time, so like fucking Inglourious Basterds was set in World War II, and they just totally rewrote history. So we don't know what we're gonna get really. I don't really want to know until
I
I
have
see it.
heard nothing about this film, so
Yeah,
I actually
Nothing.
have not
I
a
have
clue what
nothing.
it's about.
And it's scripted and leaked this time, so that's a good
No,
thing.
I don't
That's
want
a
to
good
know
thing.
what it's about. I'll
probably
wait
going to
and
be
see.
shite like the rest of his movies.
Can I?
So, yeah.
Can I add one more piece of
Yeah, you
news?
can.
I'm not going to comment on details.
Mhm.
Arnie is interested in the Dune. So the
Not even a
real
little
old
bit.
sci-fi novel
I saw
Dune.
that they're
He's
redoing
doing.
So they're redoing Dune. David Villeneuve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
released 2020. The cast looks fucking stellar.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've seen
Like,
really that have made
and
me go, ooh.
Jess has read that book, and she tells me it's brilliant. It's next on my list of books to read when I finish, or when I can get
why
it.
would you read the book?
Yeah, just it'll
Because
spoil the
It
film.
ruins the movies.
Yeah, exactly. He's right.
But anyway, the cast of the new Dune movie looks ridiculously talented.
Yeah.
Stellan Skarsgård, Jason Momoa, your man who plays Thanos,
Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin. There's a whole load of
big-
people. Because
big
they did a
purple
full.
lad.
They did a full. Yeah. They
Purple
did
and
a
a
full
purple face,
cast
yeah.
announced yesterday because they started principal photography,
Mhm.
and I was just like, that film kind of went from that could be interesting to holy crap, there's a lot of really talented actors,
Yeah.
and apparently from reading on it, really talented like people behind the scenes as well.
Mhm.
So one to keep an eye on.
Yes.
Exactly.
So anyway, so Tarantino, that guy. You ruined my segue, Mick. Thanks
Who?
very much.
The Once Upon a Time in Hollywood guy.
Yeah. So yeah, we're just going to talk about his films in
Mhm.
general. Now,
Let's go to Tarantino then.
yeah. So I've seen all of his films. You haven't seen Django.
Think Django's the only one I've not seen at this stage.
I need to look at the list of his 9 to make sure I've seen.
Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction. Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
Kill Bill.
Yeah.
Kill Bill 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Death Proof.
Yep.
Django.
No. And Hateful Eight.
And Grateful Mates. So that's
Grateful
the 8.
Mates.
And
So
then
I'm missing one.
you're missing one.
I've never seen Jackie Brown or Reservoir Dogs fully.
That's
I've never
disgraceful.
seen Jackie Brown, but I've seen a lot of Reservoir Dogs randomly.
Reservoir
Dogs.
Dogs. Reservoir Dogs.
Needs more dogs.
You dog.
Need more dog.
How about you, Ken? Have you seen all the films?
I
The rest,
think I've
yes.
probably seen about 5 of them.
Which one have you not seen?
About
Just-
4 of them.
All right, let's see. Reservoir Dogs,
Yes.
Pulp Fiction,
Yes.
Jackie Brown,
No.
Kill Bill,
1.
Kill Bill
Not
2.
2.
No.
That's odd.
It's grand. Kill Bill 1 is good. 2 is shite.
2
It's
is
not
not
shite.
shy.
2
It's
is
not
shite.
It is not shite.
Sorry.
I've seen
It
both
really
of those 3 times in the cinema.
Did you?
Yeah.
I'm so sad
I
for
love
you.
those films.
I saw both of them twice, I think. Yeah, they're brilliant.
Death Proof,
No.
Planet Terror, no.
Planetarius Rodriguez, that doesn't count. I haven't seen it.
Inglourious Bastards.
Oh, that
no,
was one you
actually,
mentioned.
I've tried to watch that like 4 times, and the first like 15 minutes is in German. So I've always
It's
turned
set
it
in
off.
Germany.
But there's subtitles, bro.
Not on the copies that I've got.
Do you want to lend him a Blu-ray?
No thanks.
Oh, for fuck's sake. You're a disgrace.
What are you talking about? We buy our films. We where is no.
I-
no,
I-
no.
No,
Speak
but
for
like,
yourselves. I
The
always
copies,
purchase my
I've
films.
bought them just from the lads in the pub.
The man in the boot of his car.
Sells
Yeah.
bootleg VHS tapes.
What was-
he
what was the
told me
line
they were
from that
legit.
thing?
He's made sure the tab is broken out of them.
No
so they don't record
refunds,
over
mate. No refunds.
It's not a video at all, it's not, but jeez. I'll lend you my Blu-ray of Inglourious Bastards if you want.
I'll probably be sound and just download it
Mhm.
Oh, for God's sake.
from iTunes.
You should watch it. That's one of his best
Is it
films.
on the flicks of the nets.
Yeah, Inglourious Bastards
Um,
was fucking
It
fun.
was
don't
for a
remember.
while. I don't know if it still is. Hateful Eight currently is. That's,
But that's
how
where
I watched it.
Yeah.
And I think Django was. Like, there's a
It's
lot
not
of
anymore.
Yeah,
time.
well,
no.
I've seen Django anyway.
Django.
But yeah, I think that was only about 4 I haven't seen them.
mm,
Yeah.
So it's half his films you haven't seen.
No.
just under half.
He has
Everyone
mine.
keeps telling me to watch
Coming
Jackie
out.
Brown.
Yeah, it's
Do you know,
it
what? I
is-
don't even know anything about the film.
So for
Tell
me,
someone called Jackie
for
Brown.
me, for years, Jackie Brown was my least favorite of his films, and
It's
I
still
think
my least favorite.
it's probably still my least favorite. But it's one I developed a bigger appreciation for when I got a little bit older and I watched it a second or third time.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely, like, to me, it seems like the slowest of his films.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it kind of has a real intricate plot. Not that his other
Wait,
films don't, but
so it's slower than the Hateful Mates.
Yeah.
in a way, yeah. Like it's a blaxploitation film, basically.
Right.
Like it's based on those kind of films from the 70s.
It's based on a book. It's the only film that he
Yeah.
made that he didn't fully write
so he
himself.
did, yeah,
like-
it's not his original story.
yeah.
But it's one of those ones. It's a slow burn, and you get more out of it on a second or third watch. I think
Yeah.
Michael Keaton is great in it.
Yeah.
Well, he's a good lad anyway.
Pam Grier is excellent.
Pam
in it.
Grier's yeah.
Sam Jackson, as always, is great in it.
Mhm.
Bobby De Niro is deadly in it
I
as well.
think Robert De Niro in that film is so funny.
He's brilliant, yeah. And is it Bridget Fonda? She's deadly as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Where's the car, Lewis? Where'd you park the Lewis?
He just
yeah. So
Oh.
good.
Sorry.
Oh. It's
funny.
like, you fucked it, didn't you? It's like, Yeah. Man, I knew it. Saw the way she looked at it. I knew as soon as I was out the door, you would be fucking her ass within 5 minutes, man.
I'm pretty sure
really
Sam
good.
Jackson also hasn't aged since like Pulp Fiction.
Hey, he looks great.
Black don't crack.
He's 70 years of age.
Fuck off.
He's 70.
They did a real good job
He looks
de-aging him,
great in
didn't
that Captain
Look at
Marvel
him.
film. Doesn't look a day over 40.
they did a real good job de-aging him, didn't
that
they?
was
Yeah,
very
that
well.
was
Very
so
good.
Yeah.
But
That
even
was-
look at him
yeah.
in Hateful Eight, and you're like, he does not look like a
He doesn't look like a
70-year-old
70-year-old man. Yeah.
Like he just doesn't.
No.
Like, and if you look at him in all the latest like Marvel films and stuff in the last few years, you're like, okay, you're in your late 60s, and yeah, he Black don't crack.
You're
right.
Your share there.
Huh?
Ken said share the video and just talking all things turned to Quentin.
Is Sam Jackson the guy who's appeared in most of Tarantino's films?
Yeah, 6.
Like
I think it's said.
in a single,
6
as for
out
a
of his
single
8.
actor.
The Successful Six.
I
The
think
sexy
I read it
6.
here somewhere that he's been in 6
Mhm.
of the 8 so far.
Is he in the 9th? We
I don't know actually. Once
yeah.
upon a time in Hollywood, I
Oh,
looked
I
at the
dunno.
cast list. Let's have a look. It's very big. Leo
That's what she
DiCaprio,
said.
Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, Al Pacino, Dakota Fanning, Bruce Dern, Emile Hirsch, Luke Perry. Ooh,
Luke Perry, really?
Is he on crack?
he
Or-
filmed all the scenes, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Lena Dunham, Damon Harriman, Damian Lewis.
What was
What's in
Elena
this?
Dunham?
Nicholas
Ugh.
Allen
for?
Clifton.
She's a cock.
She's a fucking dope.
Yeah.
Who is she?
A cock.
I
I told
find
you.
it. Do you know what's even weirder when I look at this film is who they're playing.
Yeah.
Like, Margot Robbie's playing Sharon Tate.
Yeah.
But you go down through the other ones, you're like, oh, are
Mhm.
they playing any other ones? And you're like, Damian Lewis is playing Steve McQueen. Damien
Oh.
Harriman is playing Charles Manson. They're playing, like, famous people. Mike Omo is
Well,
playing
it's
Bruce
based on a
Lee.
true story-ish.
Oh,
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Do you not know that? It's
And there's a
it's set in
shitload
the
of land pirates.
it's set in the Marlon the fucking Charlie Manson era of his murders
Well,
and
a
stuff.
teaser went up 3 days
the
ago.
Marlon
Did it?
Cinematic
Fuck
Universe.
me.
There's a list of actors that are going to be in it
Films.
that are not, their roles are not clear yet.
Mhm.
Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, Kurt Russell, Timothy Olyphant, James Marston.
There's another guy. Fucking.
There's a
both
shitload of
both
people.
Michael Madsen and Tim Roth have to be up there in terms of Quentin Tarantino appearances.
Sam Jackson is the highest with 6.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Would Roth be up there? Because he was in.
He must be close.
He was
to it.
in Reservoir Dogs. He was in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
He was in Hateful Eight. I guess maybe it's just 3.
3 or 4, yeah. It's mad, yeah. So he's one of those directors that kind of uses multiple, or the same kind of actors in multiple
He has
films.
some favourite actors.
Like
I
Tim
guess.
Burton, the way
Yeah.
he only uses 2 ever.
Yeah.
Kevin
Sorry.
Smith does that a lot as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, like,
Well, he
around the
just
time.
cast his mates.
Well, yeah, remember, like, not that whole thing of like when he was going to make Chasing Amy. He's like, "Oh, it's not all about making films with your friends, Kevin." He's like, "I thought it was. That's what I've been doing," and that's exactly what it is. If that's what you wanted
He
to be,
said it
then
before. That's the only reason he got into it was to
Mhm.
make films with his mates.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
So.
Yeah, sorry, I don't think that was a teaser that went up. It's just like someone
Fan-made
made clips,
trailer,
yeah,
yeah.
of like all other
I
movies.
fucking hate fan-made trailers.
Yeah,
fucking
load of
hate
bollocks.
it.
Bunch of
And I think it's a fake profile called Magnum Films.
Fuck
Yeah,
off.
fan made teaser.
Magnum
yeah.
Films.
I noticed as well with
Bye-bye.
every one of his films either Weinstein or Miramax.
Yeah, this is the 1st one that
Does
isn't.
Yeah, Sony Pictures are doing his.
Oh wow!
Oh no,
Okay, I didn't know
Death
that.
Proof and Planet Terror weren't either. That was Dimension Films.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an offshoot of Miramax, I think.
Is it?
Or
I
it
think
was, yeah.
so,
I think so, yeah. Because
Didn't they?
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was Miramax, but they got
By
Dimension to make
Dimension,
it.
yeah.
So it's a
Well, fuck me, Pink.
yeah.
Yep, it is.
So-
should we talk about some of your polls?
Yeah, we should actually. These were really interesting.
Sorry, were you going to say
They
something?
were also short.
No,
Little polls.
So
Joe's used to short polls.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I got through
The
6
penis
of
joke,
his,
Joe.
6 of the possible A films. Really.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to throw in Jackie Brown in the Hateful Eight, but it just seemed
Yeah,
mismatched
yeah.
kind of thing.
Mhm.
So the first one we're going to do is his double bills. So
Okay.
Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 versus, of course, The Grindhouse, Planet
Yeah.
Terror, and Death Proof.
Why didn't you do Volume 1 versus Volume 2?
Well, that would have been good.
Volume 1
Volume 1 is a better film.
It is, yeah.
Volume 2 is still deadly.
Oh yeah,
that was a clear win for Kill Bill.
absolutely. I'm not surprised.
87% to 13%.
I like the Grindhouse, like double
I
bill.
wasn't overly impressed by the
Death Proof.
Grindhouse back to back.
I didn't see Planet Terror, but Death Proof is deadly. I love
I think
Death Proof.
Planet Terror is better.
Is it?
Yeah.
I must watch it actually. If I'm meaning to.
Can't choose
I
between
think
them.
Death Proof again is one of those kind of slow burn films where it's like maybe a second or third watching gets you a little bit more out of it.
It's the style of it that really makes it for me. It's
Yeah.
fucking brilliant. Like just the way it's done and the ending of it. You know, we were talking about the Hateful Eight a few minutes ago, and I found the last 2-3 minutes a bit lackluster. But the ending of Death Proof is fucking
It's
fantastic.
so mad. Like that film
So
is
satisfying. Just the very last shot and then credits.
I
And
might
it's
have to
fucking
rewatch
brilliant.
those.
That's
There's
great.
a few comments on that as well. Like Dano came in with either way, Death Proof is muck.
I disagree.
You disagreed. Not as good as a lot of his other flicks, but still class.
Yeah.
Ian hated the Death Proof stuff.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Ian though.
I
so
love
fuck
the
it.
There's a lot of there is a
I
lot
love
of
the
hate on it
fake
though.
trailers they had in that Grindhouse double bill.
Overrated.
Yeah.
Austin said my dislike of Death Proof swayed me into picking Kill Bill.
Yeah.
I think it's because
Man, that's
there was pretty much a lot of hate gone towards it. Like, and I don't know how many. Let me have a look of how many actually voted for Death Proof. 4 people for the Planet Terror Death Proof.
and how many was the other side?
I could name and shame, but I won't.
You should. Yeah. Jesus. More polls?
Yeah, no,
Yes,
no,
of course, there's
it's
2
a
more.
weird one. Like, I don't know. I need to rewatch Death Proof. I did not
I
think
think
it was
I'm
that
gonna
bad.
watch them.
Yeah.
Some day when I'm like not doing anything, I'm gonna do them back to back. Like
Mhm.
supposedly that's how they're supposed to be watched. I don't know.
Well, the Planet Terror and Death Proof have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
Like they're
They're
two
just
separate films.
But Kill Bill was supposed to be one big film, you know that. And then
Yeah.
as he was
Yeah.
shooting it, he realized it was very
Too
much
long.
an Eastern
Yeah.
and a
Do
Western.
too.
Yeah.
All right, the next one was Inglourious Basterds versus Django Unchained. And I thought this might be a
Django.
very difficult one.
I can't comment on it because I've not seen Django, but I really like Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah,
It's
and
phenomenal.
I
Can't
have
sort it
I
out. It's
have to say Django because it's the only one I've watched.
of the two,
Wait, you
Inglourious
never
Basterds
watched
is
Inglourious Basterds?
Well, no, as I said, I tried to watch it 4 times and it was in German at the start. So I
Okay,
kept
yeah,
putting it
you
on.
gotta watch that. That is a fucking
I had no
phenomenal
subbers.
film. The Bear Jew.
take my Blu-ray.
Fucking love The
It's
Bear Jew.
No,
take
Tell me
the
to take your
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray. Everybody hear that?
So the
I
the
understand.
winner of
I'd
that-
say Django won just because it's
No, actually, Inglourious
Really?
Basterds won at 53% to 47%.
that
So
was tight.
very fucking close. And if you want to put it into how many votes to votes, it was 17 votes to 15.
Huh.
So it was very close.
both brilliant films though.
Both
so,
are
yeah.
fucking brilliant films. So that
Yeah.
was I knew that was going to be a tough one. But there you go, clear winner. Well, yeah, clear winner. And
Just
the
about.
last
clear winner by
one,
2 votes.
which I knew was going to be the tough one. Reservoir Dogs versus Pulp Fiction. I thought it was going to be closer in the end. It was nearly 50-50. It ended up being Pulp Fiction of 57% to Reservoir Dogs of 43.
Really?
So in
They're
it,
two
you're looking
very
at
different
12
films.
votes to 16. So
On the ride.
it's just, I think they're the two top iconic on this
Yeah.
list that have the most notoriety. So it was like, ooh, okay, let's throw them two in together.
It's weird. I go between those two. I go back and forth oftentimes on which one I prefer
Which the
between Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs.
Pulp Fiction is definitely better.
I know, I like Pulp Fiction. I think Reservoir Dogs is so tightly put together.
Yeah,
I prefer Reservoir Dogs, and I've only seen
Really?
like half the film.
that's
It's
fucking
so tight. It's
I
so
like Pulp Fiction, but
it's so tightly
really
put
like
together. It
Pulp
tells a
Fiction.
real interesting whodunit story, like we were talking about earlier on. And I think it's just got some great performances on what you can tell is like a smaller budget.
yeah,
I think it in some ways it tells like Pulp Fiction obviously tells a bigger story. Reservoir Dogs tells like a quite small story, and just I love how it opens up. They have that diner scene, kicks into the little green bag. That's a great tune, and then immediately goes to Tim Roth dying in the back of the car on the highway, and it's just like holy shit.
was that Tim Roth in the back of the car?
Yeah.
I have that soundtrack on Mr. Blue vinyl. Seriously.
Mr. Blonde,
'Cause you
Mr.
get-
Blue,
it
Mr.
came-
White,
It came out in all those
Mr.
different.
Pink.
It came out in all those different colors as well. You get it on Mr. Brown vinyl, Mr. Pink vinyl, Mr. Blonde vinyl. Yeah,
What
Yeah.
else, Mr. Brown?
I
Mr.
think I'm
Brown's
gonna
Mr.
have to-
Shit.
yeah,
I think I'm going to have to sit down and do like a Tarantino-ton.
yeah.
It's not a
And
bad way
just-
to spend a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And by a couple of hours, I mean 2
A
days.
hell of a lot of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
His films aren't bad. Like
He does, like we
let's
said
be
earlier on, he
honest.
doesn't make
Let's-
bad films.
And because I haven't seen some of them, it might be good to be able to see them. And I think there's a lot that Rosie hasn't seen either.
Mm.
Yeah, you should sort
You
of
could also, if you wanted to kind of incorporate more into it, you could do Tarantino adjacent stuff as well, like From Dusk Till Dawn, because he has
I've seen that.
he's a
Fucking
great role in
brilliant,
that.
yeah. And he
If-
wrote that, you know that.
Fucking
He wrote that as
love
well.
Dusk Till Dawn. That's a
Great film.
great
If you get a
film.
chance, and I don't know if anyone else has watched it, there is a documentary on the making of that film called Full Tilt
yeah.
Boogie.
I've seen that.
Oh, I hope
That
you're going to
is-
say From Dawn Till Dusk.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
But it has this really cool opening scene where George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino are lost backstage.
No way.
And it's just the
I
two
think
of them
we've
walking
mentioned this
around,
before, yeah.
bumping into random people backstage.
Yeah, because don't they just... At the start of that film, they're outside. They're at the petrol station across the road.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or something. Where the car breaks down, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's
Good film. It's a really good film.
Yeah, honestly,
remember that film being great.
Tarantino's made no bad films.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think. I think he's my favorite filmmaker. He's an absolute fucking
Except
genius.
for Django.
Django, no, Django's amazing.
I'm looking at his
seriously,
list
no bad
and I
films.
can't say they're
Django's
bad.
phenomenal.
None of them are bad.
But which one have you not seen again?
Jackie
Dogs?
Brown.
Jackie Brown,
Is-
not a bad film either. It's excellent.
Yeah. I need to get that off and finish the rest of the...
My least favorite of his films, but still a
Yeah.
great film. I love him. I think he's. I want to marry him.
And then he's also he's also directed scenes in other things. So like he directed a segment of
4 Rooms.
4 Rooms. He directed
Haven't
a
seen that,
segment
but yeah.
in Sin City.
Yeah, that's
Did
right.
he do a part in Sin City?
Directed one scene. Yeah,
He did an episode of CSI.
yeah.
Like
That was
his-
amazing.
Mhm.
That episode, I remember
That was a
He-
really good episode.
He did a 2-part and
yeah,
series
where
finale.
one of them
Unbelievable.
gets buried alive.
He did
That
a
was
Shockingly.
savage.
He did a guest direct spot on Itchy and Scratchy as well. If you remember, that was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking up and seeing he's done
his
stuff like
vision
Natural Born
in
Killers.
His movies is just it's incomparable to any other director. Like.
We should also say,
it's
by the
very
way,
unique.
Dick Dale passed away this week, so rest in peace to,
Oh, did he?
to that guy. Yeah, the guy that wrote Miserlou, the opening theme for Pulp Fiction. So he passed away at 81, I think, this week. Apparently, I don't know anything other than Miserlou, but apparently he was an absolute legend of surf guitar. So there you go.
I'm going to close the show with Miserlou. So
Yeah, good call. In tribute to Dick Dale and his Deltones. That's the name of his band.
Was it?
Yep, Dick Dale
So,
and his Deltones.
I mean, I don't think you could have a conversation about Quentin Tarantino without talking about the soundtracks.
yeah,
Like,
Okay.
watching Quentin Tarantino films has made me listen to so many like genres and types of music I would not have listened to otherwise, and so many of those songs have entered my kind of regular play rotation.
Right.
Like, I think his soundtracks were some of the only film soundtracks I would buy, like, even without seeing the film. I think I owned the Kill Bill soundtrack before I saw the film.
yeah.
Wow.
I would wait for those soundtracks to come out and actually, like, they'd be sight unseen purchases for me. I wouldn't even have to look at
Yeah.
track listings or
Yeah.
anything.
Some of the stuff, I know, like some people don't like Death Proof, but some of the music in that as well. There's a jukebox scene where somebody gives a lap dance to Kurt Russell, I think it is.
Is it Rosario Dawson?
I think so, yeah. In Mexico.
Yeah.
That whole song. I can't remember what the name of the song is. Like, she wore a black bandana, plays a cool piano. And she's
I
like,
know that song.
yeah, in a honky tonk down in Mexico.
Yeah.
And also, do you know that song Chick Habit? That's either at the start or at the end. Hang on the chick habit.
Oh,
hang on
yeah.
That is one of my favorite songs
He's pretty
ever.
good at picking it. Like, you take Hateful Eight, he got Ennio Morricone
Yeah.
to...
For the first time in
do
years
it.
and years and years.
That's the
actually-
I
He
think that
says
might
he'd
be the
never
first-
work with again. I was
that was
reading a thing earlier.
that was debunked.
Yeah,
I
hold
think
on.
it's
That
just-
was
I think that's called
bullshit, yeah.
Down in Mexico by the Coasters.
Yeah.
There we go.
Excellent song.
Coasters, I like that.
But yeah, Ennio Morricone came out afterwards and said, actually, no, this is all bullshit. They literally made this up. I had
fucking hate
I had an
that.
amazing time
It's like
working with
mix.
Tarantino. Like they said, he was a dream to work with, and I got my first Oscar because of that film. So I love Quentin Tarantino. I would work with him again in a heartbeat or something like that. He said anyway.
That's mad, yeah, because
So, yeah.
he worked with him on...
The Hateful Eight.
Before that, though, he worked with him...
Oh, was it Django? Oh yeah, that's the. So she puts the coins in the jukebox, and this starts playing, and she starts walking slowly around Kurt Russell, if I remember right.
Nick, I am not
Yeah.
having you as Kurt Russell, and I'm not lap dancing you.
That's the only reason I put this song on. I'll
Yeah.
fast forward a little bit.
Down in Mexico.
Although
If the internet will
yeah,
allow
now the
you.
internet has stopped it.
Of course, of course.
I'm going to listen
Fuck
to that
you,
proof on the way home.
Sky.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you get a chance, like, literally just pop any of those soundtracks on
Yeah.
and just listen to them, like, start to finish, because they are good soundtracks. They hang together very well, and they're so eclectic that it's just hearing all the different songs, and it instantly, to me, makes you just think of the scenes from the films.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think I've ever.
He's good at picking the music for it.
I remember
He's
reading
very
a
good
thing
at
with him.
picking
I
the
think it
music.
might have been an interview either on the Pulp Fiction soundtrack or in the liner notes, where it's like when he's thinking of an idea for a film, he will go through his record collection and picking out songs before he has a full idea of the story, because it'll
That's
inform.
what I was just about to say.
It'll inform some of the choices when he
Mm.
makes.
When I was
when
in
he's
college,
writing.
there's a lot of directors that will wait until the editing process to pick the song to overlay to
Mhm.
suit the song. But from what I know, Tarantino will pick the song and suit the scenes
Yeah.
to match the feel of that
Which
song.
makes sense, because if you're
Yeah.
doing it if you know the song that's going to be in a scene when you're filming it, you can make specific cuts or specific
Exactly.
ideas.
Yeah, it's like even
James Gunn
like a
does
lot of
that very well.
YouTubers and
Mhm.
stuff like that. If you pick your track and film to your track, you know your beats, you know your
Mhm.
cuts, you know what will suit.
And
I think Baby Driver as well, probably.
Yeah.
A big
I
example.
think,
Probably Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at music as well, actually.
He is, yeah. No, I think
those are the three directors I think of when I think of music now.
I think
James Gunn
Tarantino
as well.
I think Tarantino was one of the first people to, maybe the first, to actually have clips of dialogue between songs on the soundtracks as well. I don't think anyone else had done that before him as well.
That took me so long to get used to.
Yeah.
Just listening to it and just like, this is Beaumont.
Yeah.
Who's Beaumont?
KBILLY. Just keeps on trucking. I know the whole Madonna speech just from listening to that soundtrack so much. There's actually only 8 songs in that soundtrack, but there's like 11 or 12 tracks because of the... Let me tell you what Like a Virgin's about, okay? It's all about this cooch who's a regular fucking machine. I'm talking morning, day, night, afternoon. Dick, 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 dick.
How many dicks is that?
A lot. And then one day she meets this John Holmes motherfucker, and it's like, whoa, baby. She's feeling something she ain't felt since forever. Pain. Pain. It hurts. It shouldn't hurt, because she should be broken in by now. But when this cat fucks her, it hurts. It hurts just like it did the first time. You see, the pain is reminding a fuck machine what it was once like to be a virgin. Hence, Like a Virgin.
It's a pretty good
Holy shit,
Tarantino impression.
That's really
Thank you.
impressive, man.
Thank you very much.
Can you do the Quentin Tarantino impression of him and Little Nicky?
No, I don't know the speech. The other thing I know off the top of my head is the coffee thing from Pulp Fiction. It's like, damn. Do you remember, like, Jules is like, damn, Jimmy, this is like some gourmet shit.
Oh, yeah.
Don't tell me how good my coffee is, Jules.
Yeah.
I know. I fucking bought it.
When Bonnie goes shopping, she buys shit. I buy the gourmet expensive stuff because when I drink it, I want to taste it. But you know what's on my mind right now? It ain't the coffee in my kitchen. It's the fucking dead guy in the garage. Let me ask you.
He absolutely says guy.
Yeah, he does, yeah. When you came up to the house, you notice a sign that said dead guy storage?
I'm hearing the other word.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
To kind of cement how much like Tarantino influenced me watching film as a kid. Like, you've been in my room in my parents' house. I have the Ezekiel 25:17 as a
All the way
border
around the
around
top.
the top of my house.
So most people have, like, those, like, what are they, just before the ceiling, you have, like...
Alcove.
Yeah. Mick literally had the lion all done
I think
out
there is
all the way
there's
around
another
the room.
trunking, maybe. I
I
can't
was
remember the
quoting.
exact word.
I was quoting in Bruges. What's this fucking obsession with
Was he
alcoves?
talking about the alcoves?
What is this obsession with
fucking
fucking
hell.
alcoves?
So to do that, what I did was I drew a line around the top of my wall, the same distance from every part of the ceiling. I measured it. I counted the number of letters in the speech, including spaces, and I equally divided up the line into different things, and then wrote it in pencil, and then wrote it in marker over the
good.
top of it.
All
Took
that
me
effort.
a good couple of hours.
All that effort and
Mhm.
how well it looked, and then you had to go and paint a fucking Man United crest on the fucking wall as well.
I didn't paint the Man United crest.
There
no.
was a
There's
crest on one corner.
There's a giant WWE logo
Is it?
scribbled in
I
marker.
remember that actually. Yeah.
There
Oh, yeah,
is
the
a
Man United-
24 logo because I love
Fuck,
24.
You were obsessed with 24. Yeah.
And there's a giant Homer Simpson. Painted all of those on my wall.
Who? My
There
Simpson?
was a Man United.
Who? But
crest.
Simpson.
Yeah.
Could have sworn there was.
But yeah.
Might have been a poster.
Could have been.
Anyway,
But the point is, Tarantino.
enough talking about my childhood bedroom.
The point is, Tarantino is the greatest filmmaker alive.
Ooh.
He's maybe not. He's my favorite though. He's my personal favorite. I think he's amazing.
He's one of the
That's
few
another discussion
directors
for
that
another
I
day.
would go see a film again. Sight unseen. Like Tarantino's new film out. What's it about? Don't care. I'm going.
Yeah, I was
And now
thinking that. I'd watch anything he does, which means in my head I'm
Clearly
like, Joe,
not if you haven't
he's-
watched Jackie Brown.
Yeah, but
I was going to say, like, obviously I've not
Saying.
seen Django and I hadn't seen Hateful Eight. I think that's just down to, life getting busy and not having, like, I went to see 2 films in the last week and a half in the cinema, and that's the most I've been to the cinema probably in about 5 years. Like,
well, I think
this close together.
So you chose to watch other films like Fatal Deviation, but you haven't.
That's your fault. I'd never heard of that film before you,
I just
Joe.
haven't had a lot of time. It's like, you have time for Fatal
I think what we've
Deviation.
learned is I'm the only true fan here because I've seen all of his films. You guys not so much, right?
What is a Tarantino?
What's a Tarantino?
It's a planet in Star Wars. Isn't it?
Yeah, for the dyslexic among us.
Tarantino.
Yeah, holy Tarantino. Yeah. So should we? Is that enough?
I think so. Yeah, I think
we've done all the polls, haven't
Do
we?
we have any
have,
comments or do that?
No.
You didn't mention any other. Okay,
Yeah, you
I was going to say you didn't
even try and
mention any
interact
other.
with people on
You
the
didn't
live
mention any other
There's-
comments or on the polls. Did anyone?
There was only on that one
Oh,
talking
okay.
about the hateness towards the Planetary. The rest
Mhm.
was pretty positive stuff.
Yep.
Towards it goes yes, or like Reservoir Dogs, yes, 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 and
Hmm.
stuff like that. There was nothing
Daniel Bryan stuff.
constructive.
Hmm.
Yeah, just a lot of love and then hate for the old grindhouse. A lot of hate
As
for
you
the
do.
grindhouse.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoyed those films. They're not to everyone's
I'll have
taste,
to
but
rewatch
I
them.
enjoyed those
I'll have to
films.
rewatch them. I don't remember much.
Okay, so I
So-
think that's going to wrap us up then for the Tarantino talk.
Yeah.
Triple T. Thanks.
Double,
yeah.
what else?
Tarantino talk.
TTT.
Thanks
we
everybody.
Could, yeah. We could
What?
TTT and we could like put a giant T's in people's gardens and light them on fire. Oh no, we couldn't.
No. Don't know
My
where
God,
that joke
Joe.
came from. Yeah.
No,
My
that's-
God.
no, that's a bad idea.
What if they're lowercase? No,
no,
anyway.
not lowercase won't do either.
No,
No.
people will be very cross with you if you did that. Jesus Christ.
Oh, gee.
Oh, that was a burn right there.
I know.
Should we
red
wrap
in the
this-
face?
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody who gave us feedback and watched us talk about all this crap.
Mhm.
Next week's show, we are taking an unusual step
Yeah.
of watching a bad film.
Very
yeah, we're
unusual
back
for
to our
us.
bad ones,
Mhm.
and we currently have a poll up. Right
But
now.
by the time you are
If you're
listening
if you're
to
watching
this,
live, you can currently vote on the poll. If you're waiting for the podcast to be edited, that poll is long closed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
It's 60-40 right now.
Oh,
Yeah, I
To
voted.
what?
I voted for Black Shampoo because I don't want to watch the other one. To be honest.
the choice of film is either
Movie 43.
Movie 43 or Black Shampoo.
I might go vote for Black Shampoo. 'cause
I
I've never
really
seen
hope
it.
Black Shampoo is still on Amazon Video.
Yeah.
If not, I
It
will
looks
not illegally download this. I will
ridiculous.
go to iTunes and try to find it.
So yeah, if you're watching, you want to vote on that, and we'll watch that next week.
Cool.
Question of the week will probably depend on the film that's
Yeah.
selected.
I was
Yeah.
thinking.
So we'll
Yep.
we'll inform that on the usual social media channels when we know what film we're gonna watch.
Shizzle.
So what I will do really quickly is I will try to find that poll, and even actually, if you can, Joe,
I have it
copy the link to the poll into this live feed, so anybody that is watching has a quick link to the poll.
here.
Good
I
man.
will, of
And while
course.
Joe is doing that, Aidan can tell people where they can contact us.
You can find us on Facebook, search for Preachin on Preacher, Twitter at Preachin Pod. You can go to preachinonpreacher.com and find all of our back episodes there. We're on iTunes, we're on Spotify,
Mm-hmm.
we're on Google Podcasts. Is that the name of that thing, Ken?
Google
Yeah.
the
Gcast.
podcast of the Google.
Yeah. You can take the RSS feed from preachinonpreacher.com and put it in your podcast nav of choice. And we're also on YouTube. So,
Yeah. Get them videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, videos. Yes.
Do you have any more videos?
Not right now, but yes.
Okay.
So that's gonna do it for this week, gents. It's
think
as
so.
always, it's been a pleasure. I think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go home and think about it, see whether it was a pleasure or not. I'll figure that one out when I go home. And until next week, I shall see you later.
Yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Keep on preaching.